Hey guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to another 40K podcast. We previously called these Chatter from the Vox. I think we'll probably keep those titles.
I like that.
But Winters has encouraged us to be a bit more clickbaity with our titles so we can get more people drawn in to watch these podcasts because he said they're really good. And if Winters says they're good, who's to say he's wrong, right?
Yep.
This is our brand new look podcast. We've been chatting to the people on Twitch for the last probably 5-10 minutes about this new look. And we are launching this new look, this new podcast look. It will come with a new thumbnail. It comes with a new title. And we're launching this all together because we have brand new content to show you. This is a very special video in Warhammer history because recently Games Workshop got in touch and they offered to provide us with pre-release content so that we can review it. And what that means is we have the new codexes. Thank you very, very much, Games Workshop. You've supplied us with these new books. We have the White Scars book, we have the Ultramarines book, we have the main codex. So a massive, massive thank you to Games Workshop for supplying us with this product so we can do reviews and chats about it. Now, what we did talk about, Brom, is we said that actually lots of channels do reviews.
Loads of them.
Lots of channels
and really
do
good
reviews.
ones. They're not all.
They're excellent.
They're great ones. So
I sat and watched Winters' review last night.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I was at work. I had my little headphone in at work and just listened to that. TTT have dropped the battle report with the latest codex.
Watching that.
Yeah. So there's some really good stuff out there already. So we didn't want to do a normal review. So we thought, well, why not bring this content to our live podcasts? Because we love doing the live podcasts. I'm embracing Twitch as the future. We thought, why not bring these to our live podcasts? Because what we can do is we can have a bit of a chat about the codexes and what's in them and what's in these books and stuff and what things we've noticed. Because I know you've had a bit of a read as well now.
Yep.
But more importantly, we can answer your questions. So if you head on over to Twitch and follow us at Moarhammer Liam at Twitch, we can answer your questions live in the book. So if you think there's something you particularly want to know, you can join the live podcast when we have these new books, ask that question, and it means you haven't got to trawl through hours and hours of footage on YouTube to try and find your answer because it's there.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm aware, and this isn't necessarily 100% accurate, but as far as I'm aware, we're the only channel out there now that is dedicated to doing a live Q&A for these books. And that's what we're here for, is to answer your questions. I think. I might be wrong. Someone's probably going to tell me I'm wrong in the chat now.
If they have, I haven't spotted it, and it's not me not following. I think I follow quite a few channels, so there's a fair reach. So I'm
yeah.
This is good for us, though. So to
Yeah.
be fair, we were always going to talk about it today.
And if you are watching this live on YouTube, you will notice it has a different look to how the Chat from the Vox podcasts used to look, because I'm editing them slightly differently to try and make them look a bit more professional. That's the intent anyway. Whether it works or not, it remains to be seen. Yeah. But that's the intent. So the hope is they're going to look a lot more professional on YouTube. They look a lot better on Twitch. And everything's just better. That's the point.
What's nice in this room is we used to face opposite directions. And now I can actually see you, and I don't look really weird, and you don't see the side of my head / the back when I do look at you.
Now when we talk to each other like this, and we look at each other, it looks normal on screen. It looks natural.
Yeah.
So that's the point. And it looks a little bit more like a sort of chat show, interview show type thing. And that was the whole point. And I had this little dream that I told you and Mikey P about. I think you both went, oh, Jesus, he's off again. And this is it. This is what I wanted.
I think I went with the... whatever you want. I don't quite understand. Maybe it's just the text way that you're explaining this, but I'm sure it'll look great. And Mikey went,
It's pretty much what happened, right?
We don't really get a say, so we'll see how he turns out.
Thanks, mate. Anyway. So some quick shout outs before we push into the main content of this video. Obviously, you can, if you're watching this on YouTube, head on over to Twitch and follow us at Moarhammer Liam, and you can be involved in the live stream. You can hit subscribe as well, and you can do that for free if you link your Amazon Prime account. We get financially supported by Twitch. It costs you nothing. If you haven't got Amazon Prime, you can hit subscribe anyway. I think it costs like £5 a month. Otherwise, there's other ways of supporting the channel. If you look below the Twitch video or in the video description below on YouTube, we have a Patreon link, so you can come and support us on Patreon and come and join our very busy hobby Discord. It's an insanely busy community, actually. It's wonderful.
Especially since the Codex is
released. Maybe not. Maybe it just needs to come with a parental warning now. However, you can come and join us in Discord. Also, as you can see underneath the main banner at the top of the screen on Twitch, we are also found at www.deploymentzone.tv. That's mine and Winters from the Winters SEO YouTube channel. That's our website. We put all our 40k content on, and currently the Death of Hope campaign is going live on
Fridays.
DZ on Fridays. Thank you.
It's amazing. So amazing. I watched the YouTube one, and then I didn't quite catch it on any of them, and then this weekend binged it. It's and then dropped that last week was Wednesday was binging, Thursday binging, released the 5th one. I was like,
So yeah, it's really popular, right?
Can't wait.
It's been going really well. Cool. Anyway, so we have a Space Marines Codex. I'm going to start chatting some nonsense about the Space Marines Codex. You feel free to interrupt me, and Brom's also going to keep watching out for questions as well.
Yep.
However, the Codex is another Space Marines Codex. It's not a completely brand new book. Essentially, a lot of the units are relatively similar to what they were before. They have pretty much stayed the same, right? We've had a look through.
A lot of them.
There are some noticeable changes to units, okay?
Yep.
And we're talking about generic Space Marine book for now, and then later on we'll go and cover Ultramarines and the White Scars that neither of us have read so far. Honest.
If I've got a dedicated amount of time, go into the blue.
Yeah. So on the whole, most of the units in the Space Marine book have stayed the same. Now, there are some changes in terms of what units are available in the book. For example, all the Vanguard stuff, all the new Primaris Vanguard stuff are now in the Codex. All the specific chapter characters are out the Codex. You probably know all this anyway. But it's important to note some other things that I think some other channels have missed. For example, Aggressors. Aggressors are 3 wounds and 3 attacks. In fact, all Gravis armor, as far as I'm aware, are 3 wounds and 3 attacks now.
Yeah.
Right, that's really, you can have the book. I'm just chatting nonsense. That's a really important thing to note. They are borderline Custodes toughness now. The toughness 5-3 wounds. That makes them really good. I mean, they don't have a 2-up save, and they don't have the standard 5-up stroke 4-up invulnerable save that Custodes come with, but they are 3 wounds and toughness 5. That makes them really survivable.
They needed to be slightly tougher, didn't they?
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point? You're just going to move slower.
Well, yeah, pretty much. Because they still can't get in the new Primaris transport, right?
No.
So there's some little changes like that. There's lots of little changes that Brom and I have noticed in terms of how rerolls work.
Oh, the wording is they've done really well actually with it.
Yeah.
I really like the wording changes. So it is really, really subtle. So a lot of the rerolls are now just rerolls. So I know we'll go on to the Ultramarines later, but Tiggy's reroll failed psychic tests is now just reroll
psychic tests. Yeah.
So that's slight change in wording. You're not having to find and understand the rule as much. They've simplified stuff, made rules that are +1 to hit now are just like +2 ballistic skill. So it's not a modifier anymore. It changes the ballistic skill. That's Tellians though. So again, going more Ultramarines. But the point is they've done it throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Captains and
no, I don't think actually the way that they've worded the old. The reroll, the 2+ ballistic skill thing is actually going to make a massive change to how things work, because it doesn't. So it does mean you just do less calculating in modifiers, right? Because you just apply your negative modifiers once you've got your new ballistic skill. I think so. I don't think it makes a massive difference in terms of how that then interacts with the rules as they were originally. I think it's basically the same.
But it makes it simpler.
But it makes it simpler, which is the key, right? And that's massively important. The other thing they've done is they've changed the way, like you say, the way they do reroll to hit rolls. It's not reroll failed hits, it's reroll hits instead. And that's massive. As a Chaos player who's been using Abaddon recently, that makes a massive difference, actually. And it's simpler. Yeah. So, and it makes your things like your Terminators that are -1 to hit naturally because of Power Fists, and then sometimes an additional -1 because of what they're attacking, etc. Yeah. Suddenly, they're maybe hitting on 5s and rerolling 1s and 2s in the past. Now they're hitting on 5s, rerolling 1, 2s and 3s and 4s. So they suddenly got more punch. Yeah. So that little nuance change I think is massive for Marines, but I don't think we're just going to see that in Marines. I would imagine we'll see that come across in all the new codexes that come out. I think that's just going to become a bucket change, I reckon, to most armies, which is exciting because, again, it simplifies the game and it gets rid of some of this nonsense of, well, I hit on 5s and I reroll 1s and I hit on 5s, I reroll what I don't hit with.
I found that Interceptor Squad in, guess what, 3 wins.
Gravis. Yeah, it's Gravis armor. So they get 3 wins. And look how many attacks they get. 2.
And they get 2 attacks. Yeah. So, which is good.
Well, so the Aggressors actually get more attacks. So the new sort of standard for Gravis is 3 wounds. Yeah. The attacks are different, but
they got 3 attacks.
The Aggressors get 3 attacks for their flame fist things of doom. Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah. I didn't notice that one. Yeah. I missed that.
Lots of people have missed that, actually.
Super little, small little things. Centurion Assault Squad.
And that's the thing. If you are a Marine player, if you've been used to playing Marines in 8th edition, I would strongly advise that you do nitpick through this codex with the units that you use, because there is lots of little changes that exist now that are different to how they were before. And if you skim read them, you might think they're the same, and they're not. They're different. No. So make sure you check the changes.
So all the way through so far, previously, Sergeants, not massively, for Marines, not massively important. All right, what? +1 leadership. It wasn't massively important, the extra attack and the leadership. They're now massively important because you now can give them the war gear.
Okay. Right, we've got some questions coming in already, which is important as well. So One of these is linked to one of the rules changes. Used to be that every single unit in the Adeptus Astartes Codex had a keyword a special rule that was called Animation No Fear. Gone. That's been binned. Well, it's not been binned. It's just been moved. It's been relocated, and it now sits within the Angels of Death special rule. Again, you've probably heard this all over YouTube so far. Angels of Death is a new special rule that applies to all Adeptus Astartes units in the book, with the exception of a couple. And I mean all. If you look through the book, it's on Predators, it's on Dreadnoughts, it's on everything. Angels of Death. Angels of Death gives you 4 different rules, which is why they've blanketed it under one rule. So you've got They Shall Know No Fear, which is different. It isn't just reroll failed morales, it's reroll morale checks now. So you can choose if you really want to fail it. I'm not sure why you would, but if you do want to fail it, you could reroll it if you wanted to. You've got another couple in there as well. So you've got Combat Doctrines, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yep.
Bolt of Discipline, which is exactly the same as it was after the update. So it affects dreadnoughts and infantry essentially. And if it's a rapid fire bolt weapon and they stand still, they get to fire twice, unless they're Terminators, Centurions, etc. And they just get that all the time anyway, which is important.
And dreadnoughts.
And of course, and dreadnoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And They Shall Know Fear still in there, like we said. Shock Assault's a new thing. Shock Assault we talked about with American Rob last week on the podcast. Shock Assault's amazing. And as far as I'm aware, Brom's got the rule right in front of him.
Yep.
If you charge or are charged,
yep,
that's the bit that I didn't realise last week.
Or
perform a heroic intervention.
Yeah.
So last week I knew that if you charged or performed a heroic intervention, I missed the bit that if you were charged. So if I now charge your squad of Terminators, you get the bonus to your attacks.
What's even funnier is there is actually a trait or a special rule, and we're getting. I'll find it in a minute. But there's a thing where you can swap it out, so you don't get shock attack, but you always get the +1 attack.
Right.
I guess if you've got a really tough unit that you just don't want to die, and they're not got enough power to kill stuff. So if you're going up a massive horde of orcs and you've got some Terminators that you just don't want to die, just take that away, give them this, and then just got to have more attacks.
And every single fight phase.
Because otherwise you could get tied up in the fight phase, like Berserkers used to. If they didn't kill it, they got weaker.
Well, shock attack, although I know that shock attack is going to apply to Berserkers as well.
Yeah.
I know that. But shock attack on its own as a rule is actually better than the Khorne Berserker or the original World Eater's trait. Because the World Eater's trait was you gained an additional attack on the turn that you charge. And shock attack gives it when you charge, heroically intervene, or when you're charged, which you didn't get with World Eaters before. So that's massive. And it's better than the World Eater's trait was on Berserkers. And it applies to aggressors. It applies to Dreadnoughts get an extra attack on the charge now. Or an extra attack when they're charged. So the new Dreadnought, the new baby-carrying walker thing, it's not a Dreadnought, the walker thing, Brom will look at the name for it from in a minute, has 4 attacks base. But if you charge it, it's 5. That's massive. With a strength 14 power fist that isn't -1 to hit. That's really impressive.
I was looking for it. I was also got distracted.
It's like 120 points or 130 points for the whole thing kitted out with weapons.
Yeah, because that was actually a question, wasn't it?
Really quite powerful. Anyway, so back to Angels of Death. So combat doctrines.
Invicta tactical warsuit.
Thank you.
There you go. That's the actual thing.
Perfect. So combat doctrines, which applies to everything, because I'm trying to get to Angry Federalists' question. Combat doctrines is a new thing that applies to Astartes units. We are told Angels of Death will be applying to Heretic Astartes and Blood Angels and Dark Angels, etc. Be interesting to see how the combat doctrines thing then ports across to those armies, if it does at all. We don't know. Yep. Combat doctrines is you start with Devastator Doctrine. You can't change this. You start with Devastator Doctrine. Full stop. Turn 1. That's it. And Devastator Doctrine affects all heavy weapons and grenade weapons, and they get an additional -1 AP on top of their normal profile. Again, this applies to vehicles and dreadnoughts. Last Cannon Predators are AP -4 on turn 1. Demolisher Cannons on Vindicators are AP -4 or 5 on turn 1. Heavy Hellblasters, AP -5. I don't know if that's that important, because most things that you're ignoring armor with that are AP -5 is required have normally got like a 5 up invulnerable save, etc. But anything that's heavy or grenade has AP -1 on turn 1. That's pretty important. It also applies to whirlwinds. It applies to assault cannons. It applies to loads. So it's really actually amazingly important. Yeah, snipers that are heavy as well. Aren't scout snipers heavy? So they get it. Devastator Doctrine. Scouts get AP -1 more than,
So it's flat 0 at the moment.
Then what you can do from turn 2 onwards, at the start of the turn, you can choose to change it. And when you are on Devastator Doctrine, you can only change to Tactical Doctrine. That's all you can do. There's no if, buts, ands, or maybes. You change it to Tactical Doctrine. Tactical Doctrine affects rapid fire and assault weapons. Now, this is the one that I honestly believe Marine players are going to want to spend most of their time in.
Ultramarines are 100% staying.
Yeah, I think Space Marine armies in general are going to want to spend most of their time in Tactical Doctrine because most of your bolt weapons are rapid fire or assault.
Yeah.
And actually, it's going to affect more units on the whole than Devastator or Assault Doctrine will.
100%.
Now, after you've changed to Tactical Doctrine, you can choose to change again to Assault Doctrine. Assault Doctrine affects melee weapons and makes you AP-1 in melee. Really important for combat knives and reavers, or even chainsaws. Chainsaws are AP-1 now, which is really cool. The thing to note, the thing to be wary of when changing doctrines is, as a bog standard rule, you cannot change back.
No.
Okay, so you can't go from assault to tactical. If you switch up to assault by turn 3, turn 4, you can't go back to tactical. It's impossible. If you start on Devastator, you can't go straight to assault at the moment. It's pretty much impossible. However, there are some differences, right?
There are some differences. There is a stratagem you can play to go back up 1.
Don't you have to have a character on the field?
Yeah, probably. I haven't read that far. But the
I'm glad you've got the book.
I'm looking for it. The adaptive strategy. Use this stratagem at the start of a battle round if there is any chapter character models from your army on the battlefield before you change the combat doctrine is active. Before you change with the combat doctrine is active, you can go. If it's assault, you can go up 1. Only Ultramarines can switch and go with their strat all the way back to the start.
Yeah, but they have a stratagem. Ultramarines have a stratagem, which means you can pick whichever doctrine you want for 1 unit.
Oh yeah, and that as well.
So it's 1 unit. You can't do that for your whole army. It's 1 unit.
The whole army can switch back to the start.
What I found is hyper interesting, which I don't know if it's been covered yet out there on YouTube. I don't know if this has been covered. Someone I'm sure will shoot me down if I'm wrong. However, to gain combat doctrines, your whole army has to have the Angels of Death special rule.
Yes.
So if you soup in a knight or you soup in a loyal 32, you will not get combat doctrines. Full stop. Your army has to all have Angels of Death, and the exception is servitors and
unaligned.
Yeah. Okay.
So it says if you have the battle-forged army, units only benefit from this bonus if every unit from your army has this ability. Quite an important line.
Yeah, it's discouraging soup within a codex. I love it. It does mean you can have Ultramarines, White Scars, and Salamanders all in the same army because you'll all have Angels of Death.
What's also a little cheeky is the it doesn't stack. So have Storm of Fire and have your combat doctrine in place. It doesn't stack, so you can't get -2 with that.
No,
it's just a -1. It stays as a -1. So that's quite nice.
I like that though. I'm quite a fan of that. Yeah. So that's important. Now,
Mike, you'd be disappointed.
Angry Federalist, or American Robbers we know him, has asked a question about how stratagems affect this. Do they affect the Adeptus Astartes keyword, or do they affect chapter specific? The answer is woolly, unfortunately. It depends on the stratagem. Some stratagems say pick an Adeptus Astartes infantry unit. Some stratagems say pick an Ultramarines unit. So it does depend entirely. What's really interesting, actually, is how we found this out today as well. Mm-hmm. How successor chapters that you create, your homegrown chapters, interact with parent chapters.
Yep.
So actually, there's stuff in the Ultramarines supplement that states if you create a successor chapter, there are special rules in there to allow you to use the Ultramarine stratagems, the Ultramarines
warlord traits,
not relics.
You can use the war gear, but you can't use relics and McCrag unless you are aligned with the Ultramarines, and that means you've taken. There's a stratagem that's played with. No, it's a warlord trait in the main successor book. 2 seconds. This one, which is called Inheritors of the Primarch. So you could take Inheritors of the Primarch. That then means you pick one of your founding chapters.
Yeah.
And if you are under a founding chapter, then
you can use the relics.
You can use the relics.
But basically, at that point, you are Ultramarines.
You are Ultramarines. You have their Ultramarines tactics. You have adapted the Codex available to you and things like that. So, but you don't have to. You get access to all the strats, but actually some of the strats cost more. If you're not aligned.
And there's a special part within the book that states that if you do this with a successor chapter, then you count as having the Ultramarines keyword for the sake of stratagems.
All your stratagems, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And your librarian. discipline.
So this is a really interesting way now that they're integrating parent chapters with your own custom chapter tactics and still allowing you to gain access to your parent chapter without actually having to be just Ultramarines. It's the same in the White Scars book. I'd imagine it'll be the same in the Salamander's book, the Iron Hands book. What's important in the Space Marines book, there are 4 pages of stratagems. None of them are chapter specific. Every single one is Astartes specific, pretty much. And that's what I think Rob is asking. So all of the stuff in the Astartes book is all Adeptus Astartes infantry or Adeptus Astartes intercessors or whatever. It's not chapter because it doesn't care about chapters in that book because that's what the supplements are for.
Yep. The Mohawk minis, mate, Jay, you can take your assassin as an additional covert operative.
Yeah.
Because that is a stratagem you've played after you started. That's not part of your Battleforged army.
You keep Angels of Death.
So you still would keep Angels of Death, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, that's how we interpreted it. So the way it reads, because it's at the point where your army's Battleforged is when you pick it, and then you pay your points for your stratagem. So the second you bring that assassin on the field, as far as I'm aware, your army at selection still had all of them had Angels of Death, and you still keep combat doctrines.
Yeah.
Jack B has asked, does that mean you can take Rabute Guilliman? If you have a successor chapter and your parent chapter was Ultramarines, yes, you can take Rabute Guilliman. You can absolutely. However, you won't benefit from all of his rules because what happens is your chapter keyword is your chapter. So let's say we use the example of Brom Marines, okay?
Brom Marines.
Just because I was being an idiot and I was tired.
I know, and it was funny.
So Brom creates his own Ultramarine successor chapter, and we call them Brom Marines. At that point, you can take Gulliman because he has the Ultramarines keyword, and you can take the stuff from the Ultramarines book. That's fine. That's allowed. Because he's obviously a supreme... No, he's not Supreme Command. He's a super heavy auxiliary.
Yeah, you could take.
So he is in an Ultramarines chapter of his own as an auxiliary, and the Brom Marines are in their own battalion, shall we call it?
Yep.
Right. Okay. What that means, however, is because they're called Brom Marines, but they are essentially Ultramarine successors. They get access to their stratagems. They get access to their psychic powers. They get access to their special issue war gear. They get access to their warlord traits. However, Gulliman's special rule for reroll to hit rolls and reroll wound rolls of 1 targets Ultramarines, and the way they've worded it is you gain the Ultramarines keyword for stratagems. You don't just gain it. So you will not get the Gulliman bonuses, even though you can take Gulliman.
And the other tweak is like it's to do with warlord traits. Is if you took your character with your own chapter keyword, then as your warlord, that's fine. You can use the warlord traits, but that means Gulliman wouldn't be your warlord, which means you wouldn't get your 3 command points.
No, exactly. And his warlord traits changed.
His warlord trait has changed. It's amazing. We didn't notice that until right at the end. I was like, oh my god. Yes, they've changed it, which is here. So they've changed all of them. So they've assigned different characters different warlord traits. So Gulliman's is now Nobility Made Manifest, which means any Ultramarines infantry or biker can perform heroic interventions within 6 inches of him. As if they were a character. Doesn't mean they have to heroically intervene on him.
What's hilarious though is he can't do it.
He isn't an infantryman or biker, but he is a character, so it doesn't really matter. So he can still heroically intervene.
But he only gets 3 inches, not 6. Yes. Whereas he inspires those around him to heroically intervene 6 inches. It's still quite good though.
They still only heroically intervene 3 inches. It's just while they're within 6 inches of him. So they don't get a 6-inch heroic intervention. That's the other warlord trait that would have been better. Warden and McCrag. So that one is owned by Chaplain Cassius.
Okay.
He now allows people to, while they're within 6 inches of him, he can heroically intervene 6.
You read it out loud. You're on a podcast.
Yeah, I know. This warlord can perform a heroic intervention if there are any enemies within 6 inches instead of 3. And when doing so, they can move up to 6 inches instead of 3.
Okay.
Now, I know it doesn't affect others, but it means he can go further. He's a chaplain, to be fair. He wants to get involved and punch things. So the Angels of Death thing's massive, basically. Yeah. It massively buffs everything. There are 4 new pages of stratagems. If you want to know what a lot of the good stratagems are, don't worry about this particular video. Head on over and watch the one like Winter's because he's already done it. So there's no point us doing that again. No.
There are the same psychic powers you had from the Vanguard and the ones from the normal Astartes Codex. There's some subtle changes.
There's so many subtle changes. But...
One of them, for example, not Death Hex. What did you call it? The one where you remove invulnerable saves.
Oh, the now you've
Null Zone.
Null Zone.
Null Zone's now a warp choice value of 7 instead of 8, for example. Yeah. So again, like I said to you at the start of the video, or close to the start of the video,
it's dropped one.
Make sure you read all these rules changes because there are little changes all over the place. One of the massive changes is the way that chaplains work. I think actually I've just seen someone's dropped up with a chaplain comment. Chaplains have changed massively, and I don't think a lot of people
missing out. Chaplains have fear of missing out. Yes, they do, and they have now. There is totally reasons to take them. The litanies are really cool as well.
So chaplains now have litanies. If you are a Chaos player and you have played with Dark Apostles so far since the new Chaos version 2 Codex, you will know what litanies are. They're essentially prayers, basically. The downside to chaplains compared to Chaos Dark Apostles is Dark Apostles for 10 points can take some Dark Disciples, and that gives you +1 to the prayer. So you can do it on 2s. Chaplains are just 3s, and I haven't found any way of making it better than that at the moment in the book. You have to remember I've been on nights for 3 nights, and we've been skim reading this as fast as we can for tonight.
Yeah.
However, yes, they're only on 3s at the moment. So the Litany of Hate, which is the one the chaplain always had before, reroll hit rolls in combat, still exists. You have to pick a unit, I believe, or is it within? Let me have a quick read of it. And basically, you roll a d6, and on a 3+, you get that litany, and you get your reroll failed to hit rolls in combat. I don't even know if it's failed to hit rolls anymore. They're captains, mate.
Okay.
They're captains. There's no C.
No,
they're still captains. Chaplains are here.
Yeah.
So litanies of hate, you can reroll hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons for models and friendly chapter units with it. So this is still an aura ability, which is good. And the reason why I want to check that is because a lot of the litanies actually now get you to pick a unit. So you get litanies of hate standard, and you can pick a second litany, and there are 6 of them to choose from. And they do varying different things, right? So litany of faith, basically, you pick a friendly chapter unit within 6 inches. Like I say, this is a single unit now rather than an aura buff. And you get a 5+ for Bane, essentially. You then have another one called Catechism of Fire. You add 1 to wound rolls for a chapter within 6 inches if they're targeting the nearest. That's for shooting, by the way. That's massive for ranged weapons. That's really important.
Little combo.
Brom's already come up with cool combos. Yeah,
I like this combo.
We'll do that in a minute.
Yeah.
Exoration of Rage. A friendly chapter unit within 6 inches of this model. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a model in the unit, on unmodified roll of a 6, you can make an additional attack. So essentially exploding dice, unmodified, however. Mantra of Strength. If it's inspiring, you add 1 to this model's attacks and strength characteristics. Your chaplains can now get badass, and there's a better Cruseus Arcanum now as well in the Relic section, which is a flat 3 damage Cruseus. So with Mantra of Strength, you can have a real buffed up chaplain to come and smite some heretics. Recitation, I think, or Reputation of Focus. Basically, you add 1. It's basically prescience. You add 1 to hit rolls for ranged weapons. Again, I think that's really good. And remember, these are select 1 friendly chapter unit. So you can put litanies on vehicles and dreadnoughts.
Yeah. In turn 1, when you've got your -1 on your pred, and you've got your chaplain stood next to him, and he goes, "Go on, hammer him."
Yeah,
do it. So -4.
Yeah. You stand your chaplain next to your pred, you put that on him, your pred's hitting on 2s at AP -4 with his quad last cannon, for example. Actually, that's really frightening now. That's really frightening. You can even put it on land raiders with dual last cannons and stuff like that. They're hitting on 2s at that point. You have your captain lieutenant combo nearby as pretty much standard. And I think that's not going to change massively. I think we'll still see a lot of that because Ultramarine auras still work. Not Ultramarine, I keep calling them Ultramarines because of you. Space Marine auras still work really, really well.
Yeah. Ultramarines now, looking at this, are not the only chapter.
That's massive. I agree with you.
And I mean, they're the only one I want to play, but they're not the only chapter. There's so much that you could do to make little flavors of different options. And and then lastly, we have Canticle of Hate. Add 2 to charge rolls made for friendly chapter units while they're within 6 inches of this model. This is interesting because it's an aura. So you put a Canticle of Hate on you, and everything gets 2 inches additional to their charge range. And in addition, when friendly chapter model makes pilot or consolidate move within 6 inches of this model, models in that unit can move up to an additional 3 inches. This is not cumulative with any other ability. So suddenly your piles and consolidation moves are 6 inches instead of 3, and you add 2 to your charge. This actually means you probably I'm spitballing here, right? Because I don't know until we start playtesting. I don't know. I think it's conceivable to make melee-focused marine armies now. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be game-breaking or event-winning. Who cares about tournaments? That's not what we're here for. I think you can make melee-focused marine armies nowadays.
And I think that if you're making a marine army properly, now looking at the doctrines, you build your tactical squads that will go forward, and you'll hold the line, you have your heavy armour hitting them first, weaken them up, and you get smashed by a couple of preds or something like that. And then you move up the board with your tacticals, and then when you hit in your White Scars or your bikers or something that is designed for combat comes in turn 3 and starts smashing. Like Assault Marines, I wouldn't be dropping them like turn 2 now. as a response, I'd be dropping them turn 3 when Assault Doctrine kicks in, and then I'm getting extra everything, and
I will be honest with you, right, a little bit off topic, because it wouldn't be a Moarhammer podcast if we stayed on topic for the whole time. But I'll be honest with you, it annoys me ever so slightly that you can't get Assault Doctrine until turn 3. Because when you look at certain armies, Raven Guard, White Scars, Black Templars, I think actually, honestly, people would rather have those abilities earlier than turn 3.
But we haven't seen their supplements.
We haven't, that's true. And they could have rules. Exactly.
White Scars can't. Because
we have seen supplement.
We have seen it, but we haven't read it. So the White Scars might be able to move it on, but they probably haven't, because someone will have commented on that somewhere.
Yeah, I don't think they can. I'll be honest.
But one of the others could.
But Black Templars, when you think about the ability, the Canticle of Hate ability, and Black Templars, you can re-roll any dice for charging. In addition, you basically get 5 up for no pain. So you can reroll charge rolls, and you add 2 with that particular prayer. You've suddenly got Marines that on foot can move quite quickly across the board. Mm-hmm. There's another one that allows you to advance and charge. That's White Scar, so you can advance and charge. Doesn't restrict you to just bikes or land speeders. You can do it with infantry. So again, you can advance and charge and to add 2 inches to your charge roll. There's some good stuff in there. There's some good flavour. And what I like the most about these litanies is I don't think there's a massive standout. I think you'll see the +1 to hit a lot. Yeah. I think you just will, because it's very, very good.
+1 to wound is where I would be.
But they're all that's the nearest unit.
I know, but just be a bit more selective with your movement.
It does mean that anything that comes near you as a threat, you can chuck that on them, and you're going to try and clear it out. But I don't know. I think there is.
Well, I think how powerful your chaos one is when you want to kill something and you go, I'm gonna chuck +1 to wound on there, and things die.
Yeah. Something's coming to hunt down your character, or coming to try and take on your tank, which now, if you're Ultramarines, can't be locked up in combat anymore, because they get... How many times on these podcasts did we sit here and say, why haven't Marine vehicles got chapter tactics?
Yeah.
Eldar get it? Necrons get it? Why haven't Marine vehicles got chapter tactics? And fine, I feel like someone from Games Workshop, just before they sent us that email to offer us this product, was probably watching our videos and went, these guys know what they're talking about.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of stuff in here that makes certain things better. Now, there are some nuances that have annoyed me. I won't lie about it. Terminator's still suffering a -1 to move and fire heavy weapons. I don't like that. They're Terminators, but all right.
Yeah, there's a strat for that.
I'm going to talk through some Successor Chapter tactics in a minute. Squid Monsters asked the question about Pedros. Does he make an appearance? Absolutely not. You get chapter tactics for all the first founding chapters, pretty much, with the exception of the ones that already have the standalone codexes, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Grey Knights, etc. However, you don't get any other chapter-specific stuff in the main codex. You don't get chapter-specific relics. You don't get chapter-specific warlord traits. You don't get chapter-specific stratagems, and you most certainly don't get chapter-specific characters. None of that, I can't stress enough, none of that is now in the main codex. The other thing to note, however, if you want to still run an Ultramarines army, for example, or White Scars, but you don't want to pick up the supplement, you don't have to.
No.
You can still run a pure Ultramarines or pure White Scars or pure Salamanders army from the main codex, and you don't have to pay for the supplement. That's really nice. I don't think we can stress enough how nice that is, that you don't have to spend that extra money if you don't want to. However, you're going to want to, because you get 2 more pages of stratagems, you get 2 more pages of relics and special issue war gear, you get your own psychic tree, your own set of warlord traits. You're just going to do it, aren't you, really?
Yeah.
I think, as far as I'm aware, the main codex is retailing at £25 English money, £25 English pounds, and I think the supplements are retailing at £17.50. So all in, it is a lot more money. It's £42.50 for both books, but I think you get so much more flavour.
So much.
And I think maybe, and I can't talk for the competitive scene, because I'm not competitive and I don't do tournament scene very well. I do it to go and hang out with people, roll dice and drink some beers. But I feel like you won't just see copy and paste lists anymore.
No, I think there's so much variety they can do in here, and there's so many synergies that you could get off that I don't think one will shine through. This isn't just, we're not talking like Reese's list where you've got like Marines with heavy bolters and hellfire shells everywhere, or like the one trick pony that they can do that he plays very well and you have to be very good to play, or Mikey's repulsor. This you're not. That's not it.
Repulsor's gone up in points.
You don't have
points.
to. Yeah, yes, but But there's so much more to it.
Bristol Chess Times asks, do the supplements, strats, objectives, relics, etc. replace the main Codex ones or added to? Added to. You can choose.
Yeah.
So it says you can choose to take a relic from this list instead of one from Codex Adeptus Astartes. You can choose to take a Warlord trait from this list instead of one from Codex Adeptus Astartes. You don't have to.
Your librarian can choose which tree.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to stick with.
I mean, certain librarians are restricted. So if you're a Phobos librarian, he's the only one I believe that can get access to the Phobos discipline. It's not Phobos discipline, is it? But it's the Vanguard discipline. So there's certain little nuances like that. But no, they do not replace the current list of stratagems. And this is what I mean. If you get an Ultramarines chapter, for example, and we're covering Ultramarines because one, they've been one of the most popular 8th edition, and two, because Brom has them. If you pick Ultramarines, you now have 6 pages of stratagems. Now, we've played games on the channel before where we said no command point rerolls, and halfway through changed our mind because you had no stratagems to use.
I had no stratagems randomly to use. I had to have 3 predators or something to use them, which, by the way, I painted my 3rd predator. And guess what? Killshot's not in there.
Yeah, Brom got another predator for Killshot, and it's been removed.
not happy.
I'm sorry, it's not funny. But it is a little bit funny. So yeah,
I came round this morning. I went, guess what I've got? Yeah, and then you went, yeah, it's not in there.
Yeah, it's gone, by the way. Sorry, mate. But yeah, so some of the stratagems have gone. Some of the new ones that no one took have gone.
We did have 1 or 2 other little questions in there.
Anyway, I've got currently with me
the
Successor chapter pages. You will notice I'm not holding this up to the screen so you lot can all screenshot and read it because that's banned.
Yes.
But we do have the Successor chapter tactics here, so if anyone's got any questions about Successor chapter tactics, feel free to throw them at me. Brom's also frantically checking the questions at the same time because we've been terrible at the moment at answering questions. The whole point of this was it was a live Q&A.
Yes.
We will get to them.
I'm
very excited about this.
I have written some down, and there is... I've got one that the Claw had.
Okay.
I think you might have just answered it.
Viking XC cases, read it all. No.
So he says, I have now seen that the Astartes Codex is a primer and the Ultramarines is a chapter specific one. So my next question is simply, at £44 from our sponsor Element Games.
Oh, right, okay.
Who are amazing. Is an Ultramarines player getting value for money?
Okay, this is an interesting question that was brought up on Discord. So for you guys that are wondering where that came from, because some of you were hanging out in the Twitch chat, this came from Discord as a question. It's an excellent question. And when I heard that we were having a main Marine book and a supplement for every chapter, I was really cynical about it. And I thought, another way of making more money, another way of getting us to use more books, etc. And I was genuinely a little bit like, this is not the way we want to go, GW. We're trying to make it simpler for players. Now, having had the codexes in hands, honestly, I'm not now saying this because they're supporting us. This is genuine because there's some things they've done that have pissed me off. I think they've done an amazing job of giving you layers and tiers here. So if you, like we say, if you just want this book, you can just have that book. You don't need any successor book. You don't need any, chapter specific book. You don't need any supplement. You can just run the Marine book at £25. It's £5 cheaper than the codexes used to be. So not only can you just run this book, but it's £5 cheaper from Games Workshop.
It's more in it.
There's a lot more in it, and it's a much stronger book. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's world falling out of its arse as strong as people are suggesting it is.
No.
I don't think we'll suddenly see Marines absolutely smashing all the top tables everywhere in the world, but it's a better book. There's more flavour, and the thing that I am most excited about is if I now play 5 different Space Marine players, I feel like I have the potential to play 5 different lists that will operate completely differently, run different units, and have different tricks up their sleeve. One of the biggest issues, I'm now, for the first time actually ever, and I mean ever, I'm mildly interested in running a Vanilla Marine Codex type list because it's just so good and there's just so much variation in it that I think it's a feasible thing to do and be able to put my twist on this list now. Mm-hmm. And that's a massive thing. Like, I've never, ever, ever in the whole of my 40k career, I say career because I started at the age of like 12, I've never wanted to play Vanilla Marines. If I've ever looked at Marines, it's always been Dark Angels or Blood Angels because they have a lot more flavour. This book is now full of flavour, I think, in my opinion.
Massively.
And like I say, with people like Brom, who before had no stratagems, I'm now looking at this and going, I put a battalion together. I still don't think I've got enough command points to run all the stratagems I want to run.
Oh no, I'm never going to run out.
There's that much flavour.
And they're not like 3 command points everywhere. they're single command points to do this, to do that. There is a little change in there that I will talk you through later, but the command points being 1s and 2s here and there, you're going to want double battalion.
You will.
So you're going to want the troops, which they've got another one of. So then, which have been released, and there's now 4 different troop choices you can pick from.
And I actually think that Marines as infantry units now are really good.
Oh, massively.
Now, I made a comment on Discord recently, and I stand by it. I now think they're probably one of the best glass cannon armies in the whole of 40k, and I say that because even though they're Marines, I don't necessarily think they have the staying power they should.
No.
There's still some issues. You can negate some of that with some of the Successor Chapter tactics if you want to. We'll go through a few of them in a minute, but they're still Marines, right? They still fall over because they're still toughness 4. Primaris Marines are still toughness 4, 2 wounds, 3+ save. Normal TAC Marines, a point cheaper now, by the way, are still toughness 4, 1 wound, 3 up save. They're still going to fall over fast.
Yeah.
If they get hit by something hard. What you're going to suffer with at the moment with Marines, not suffer with, what you're going to realise, I think, with Marines at the moment is their first turn of firepower is now, I think, going to be insane. And their second turn is also going to be insane. And the other thing I think is if you face Marines and you get first turn and you clear a chunk of their stuff off because they're quite glass cannon, I think the return fire is going to be a lot worse than you've experienced before. They're just going to hit you harder. Marines should hit you that hard. I've got no problems with this. I think it's good. So,
well, there's that. They've now got a specific ability that allows you to, if one of your units die, I think that's the Ultramarines. Have got the ability to pick a unit as like a retribution, isn't it? It's no.
This is live TV, Brom. Picking something that he doesn't know before. Go for it, mate. Come on.
You said it specifically to me. What I can't remember is Avenge the Fallen.
Okay.
Use this stratagem when an Ultramarines unit from your army is destroyed as a result of an attack made by an enemy unit until the end of the battle. When resolving an attack made by an Ultramarines model from your army against that enemy unit, reroll 1s to hit. So you've got your captain on everyone because that one unit took the last wound and destroyed your unit. So when you get your Havocs and they blow our tactical Marine off, well, to be fair, blow up my tank again, then you're getting some revenge.
So there's some questions that have come up with the Successor Chapters, because Chapter Tactics, we're still going to talk about them. And what I think we're going to do with this format of podcast in the future with these the Codexes, we'll talk about something that I have open on the page. We'll waffle for a bit so people can ask questions and we'll go into it. A couple of people have asked questions like, for example, what's the best Chapter Tactic combo? That's a really hard question.
I haven't read them all, and it's totally your preference.
There's some really nice stuff. What I should probably state is that a lot of the stuff that is currently formulated in the first founding Chapter Tactics exists in nuances. So, with Successor Chapter Tactics, you pick 2 of the tactics that are in this list, unless you're picking Inheritors of the Primarch, and you get 2 of them. Inheritors of the Primarch, you're basically using a first founder Chapter Tactic, okay? There are 2 that can't be used with each other, so you can't use Duelists and Whirlwind of Rage together. Apart from that, you can put any combination together that you like, and there's some really nice ones, there's some really narrative ones, there's some really strong ones. You've got things like Rapid Assault is quite a nice one for a type of army that I would like to build, which models with this tactic do not suffer the penalty for advancing and firing assault weapons. Now, when you consider that Assault Bolters for Intercessors are now Assault 3, you can move and advance and fire Assault 3 Assault Bolters, which, if you've got Tactical Doctrine on, are now AP-1, which is why Assault Bolters never got taken over normal Intercessors. That's immense, I think. The movement you can have there, where you can always advance and still fire your Assault Bolters, is actually really, really, really powerful. You've got Scions of the Forge, which is essentially the Iron Hands one, I think, which basically means that you double the wounds characteristic. Always been popular with Knights, always been popular with some of the Eldar builds and stuff, because the Yanden have that as well. There's Bolter Fusillades. Bolter Fusillades, I think, is one of my favourites, actually, because this reduces the need to castle. When resolving an attack made with a bolt weapon by a model with this tactic, you reroll a hit roll of a 1. So you get your captain bonus on everything with a bolt weapon without having to have a captain. I really like that. Stealthy, you get the benefit of cover if you're over 12 inches away. That's the new Raven Guard version. Thank God they've changed that. The Raven Guard Chapter Tactic, for me, now makes sense. If you don't know what it is, if you're more than 12 inches away, you gain the bonus of cover, including vehicles. So 2+ save predators when they're sat miles away. That's really good. If you are wholly within cover and your infantry, you then get the -1 for being stealthy. Makes more sense. I'm hoping that this is a precedent that they've set, and that will start to bleed into things like a Latok Elder and stuff, because I just think that's ridiculous. Warded, you suffer mortal wounds, and you get a 5+ save against it. It's 5+ villain save, 5+ villain pain against mortal wounds. There's another one in here, Stalwart. This is the first part of the new Blood Ravens. Which are those stupid things that Mikey Blood Ravens?
Yeah, Blood Ravens. Thousand Suns.
Yeah, Thousand Suns. When they're resolving an attack made with a unit, this tactic, an unmodified wound roll of 1 or 2 always fails. That's been played down hugely. I love it. How survivable does that make Marines when melters and last cannons and power fists and stuff are no longer wounding you on 2s?
Mm-hmm.
I said to you before, right? Berserkers are strength 5, so they wound Marines and Intercessors on 3s, as you know. And I always drop a command point on Vets of the Long War when I'm playing you against your big squad of Intercessors, for example. So I'm wounding you on 2, so I can chew through those wounds that little bit quicker.
Yeah.
I can't do that with this. There's no point.
There's also a Warlord trait that makes your Warlord add 1 to wounds, or -1 to wounds. So actually, you could fail to wound on 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah.
So only wounding him on a 5 or 6.
I really like Stalwart, but I would imagine that is not going to be the most common one. It's one of my favourites. Whether it answers the question of what's the strongest combination, I don't know. I quite like long-range marksman and bolter fusillades. If you think bolter fusillades and long-range marksman on Intercessors, it's only 3 inches extra, but suddenly you've got 33-inch ranged Intercessors that are rerolling 1s all the time. It's actually quite strong.
What I think's clearly evident in this is they don't want you to have a castle. Marines aren't meant to be a castle, and now it's spreading out.
I don't think they're actively discouraging it. They're just giving you more options.
They're actively encouraging you to go somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly that. No, I think you're right as well.
Play the battlefield, move around the building the other side instead of having your whole army go through one narrow sort of corridor.
Yeah, right, let's go back down. So we've done all... So basically, the long and short what I'm getting at with Successor Chapter Tactics is there's a load of options here. There's a couple of ones that I don't think are great or aren't going to see much play. Preferred enemy. When you select this tactic, select one of the following faction keywords. So that is your preferred enemy. So if your main opponent happens to be an Orcs player and you play him week in, week out, it's a very narrative choice, preferred enemy. Yeah. I like it. For events, you're not going to see it. Winter's made a comment on his video about if your local meta, there's lots of Tyranid players. If you're an event player or a tournament player, you're not going to use that one because you don't know what's going to arrive at the event. So I just don't think they're that great. But there is just lots and lots and lots of flavour. You pick 2, you put them together. It's so much better than it was before. You can go psychic based with knowledge's power, and you get to reroll any dice rolls of 1 in psychic tests or deny the witch tests. So suddenly you can have powerful marine psychers. There's just loads to it, and I'm a massive fan of this ability to customize your chapter completely. Winters and I had a conversation last night actually about what he's going to do with the 13th going forward.
I'm so excited to wonder what he's going to do.
What do I do now? He said, do I stick to first founding chapter tactics like I've done it always and keep switching? Do I create my own successor chapter tactic and stick to it? And I suggested that what he probably should do is switch to being a successor chapter and then create his own individual successor chapters depending on the story that he's telling.
Yeah.
Because I think that makes more sense for the 13th.
The 13th have to be adaptable. They are adaptable. They are technically sort of successor of the Ultramarines. Therefore, he has to be able to adapt and use all the skill sets. It says in the Ultramarines book specifically that they don't need to be a specialist. All the other founding chapters are specialists in something, and yet the quote from one of them is to do with how they've got to be great at everything. So
whilst we're talking about
got to be able to switch.
Successor tactics and chapter tactics as well, there's a couple of comments we've seen about Raven Guard nerfed, etc. Yeah, absolutely, there have been, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I've said it forever. I've said it for the whole of 8th edition so far, that the immense amount of negative modifiers that exist currently in 40k to hits and stuff is a bit silly, to the point where some armies can be negative to hit modified out of the game. Guardsmen that hit on 4s firing at Latok hemlocks with fire and fade, it's a waste of shot. You don't fire. Yeah. It's pointless, right? So all that stuff is gone. Okay. All that stuff hasn't gone, but it still exists. But with Raven Guard, that's now gone. I like the fact they've got rid of that, and the way that they're changing some of the wording, i.e., models next to Sergeant Cronus are now ballistic skill 2+, and you don't reroll failed hit rolls, you roll hit rolls. I think GW have realised this negative silliness.
Italian.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what
I think they've realised this negative silliness. The chapter tactics, however, on the whole, people say that the Raven Guard have been nerfed. No. So Raven Guard used to have -1 over 12 inches, right?
But your tanks didn't.
But you still don't get that now. So Raven Guard still have -1 over 12 inches, but they have to be wholly within cover. So they've just added an extra qualification to it. So you have to be wholly within cover and you're still -1 to hit. However, if you're over 12 inches, you now always get +1 to your saving throw for the benefit of being in cover. So actually they've gained a second part. Now we knew they were going to probably nerf the -1 to hit stuff. We pretty much knew that. I think most people honestly saw it coming. However, they've given you something extra. And every other chapter tactic, with the exception of Ultramarines, have gained a second part to their chapter tactic. Yep. Now, my personal favourite, if anyone's asking, my personal favourite is Salamanders, Forged in Battle. I don't know why, but the ability to reroll a hit roll and a wound roll for Overwatch and Shoot and Fight is immensely strong. That's lots of free command point rerolls for the whole game.
Yeah.
And anything that targets you with AP -1, you ignore that -1. That makes them survivable. I really like that. I was looking for that as a Successor chapter tactic to put with there. You can't wound me on 1s or 2s because I think that'd be hilarious. However, I don't. That's my favourite, but I don't know which one is the strongest now between Salamanders or Iron Hands. Iron Hands is really good.
I think Iron Hands is going to be very strong.
6 up, feel no pain, overwatching on 5+, and doubling the number of wounds for everything that's got a wounds characteristic that degrades.
What's even funnier
is they get 3.
You're making that choice based on just the Space Marines book. You wait until their supplement comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get 2 pages or more of stratagems to go with it, and warlord traits and extras.
So there's some interesting comments. Bristol Chess Times has said Raven Guard never have to pay 2 command points for prepared positions. No one ever says this. So true. Yeah. That 2 CP stratagem, which is actually very common and very popular, don't need to. You're more than 12 inches away at the start of the game anyway, because you have to be more than 12 inches away when you start. You get cover.
There are a few repeating questions, but nothing.
Come on, you got anything you want to chuck at me questions wise? So chapter tactics are good.
What have we got? We got yes, if kill shots gone in the Ultramarine in the normal Space Marine book, then probably going to go from Dark Angels. Just a guess. Deadbeat Artist. Yes, your White Scars Successor kill team. If it turns into an army, yes, it's in danger of being an army. That's the threat now. It's because it's actually going to be good.
Yeah.
What else you got?
I really like the White Scars trait. It mildly annoys me. The only thing that he missed out on there is that you can move and fire. So something Winter's SEO said with the White Scars trait was that you can move and fire heavy weapons without penalty, and he was then talking about land speeders being cheap and moving without penalty. Sorry, mate. The White Scars tactic says bikes only for that. So you can move and fire with bikes with heavy weapons, but land speeders are still suffering the -1. They are cheaper. But they're still not great. I like the idea of lots of rapid White Scars infantry. So
the Richie, you put in there. Do you think that GW will start making more chapter-specific units, kits, upgrades off the back of this? I'm not sure because
yes.
You reckon?
That White Scars have just come out. They've instantly released a Primaris upgrade kit for White Scars. Yeah, of course.
But what's in it?
Same as every other upgrade
kit. Is that not
the
same? Yeah, so it's like little add-ons. They're not actual...
So shoulder pads, heads.
That sort of stuff. Thematic stuff. Yes, 100%. As they've proven with the White Scars. Specific character models, I'm not sure.
So someone's already said, let's talk about... Eliminators. I'm trying to find them because they're a heavy choice, aren't they?
Eliminators have got that fullback.
Eliminators are cheaper in points. They're cheaper in points now by a few, not by many. But what do you want to know about Eliminators specifically? They are 2 wounds as normal, 2 attacks as normal. Everything's the same. Statistics are the same. They've got then bolt sniper rifles. Importantly, they're heavy weapons, which is massive because with Devastator Doctrine and Eliminators have an additional -1 on the first turn. They also have las fusils, which are a really interesting weapon. I'm really interested by las fusils.
Really?
Strength 8, AP -3, flat 3 damage on a unit that's got a camo cloak that sits in cover. Absolutely, I'm interested in it. Yeah, I think that's really good.
Yep,
I think it's really good.
That is actually really good.
Yeah. The downside with Eliminators is you can still only take 3 in a unit. Not
and
sure
then you stick
why.
them in your back lines, and then you get your chaplain out, and then you get your litanies out, and you get +1 to hit, so you're hitting on 2s.
You have guided aim instead of so this is the other thing which is interesting as well with las fusils, and I don't know whether this is a good or bad thing because remember they're only a unit of 3. However, guided aim, instead of shooting in your shooting phase, this unit's eliminated sergeant can guide his squad's aim until the end of that phase when resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon by a model in this unit, your 2 remaining eliminators. Add 1 to the hit roll and wound roll. So, at this point, your strength 8 last fusils, if you've got 2 last fusils in there, are getting +1 to wound at strength 8. What you could do if you had a chaplain
Hit
nearby is you could go litany, and now they get +2 to wound.
Yeah. But why would you need that?
So your strength 8 last fusils are hitting knights that are near you that have got, say you've got a gallant with 9 wounds left, you're going to be wounding on 3s with this and then wounding on 2s with the strat, which is probably more important than your sergeant firing his shot.
Yeah.
Because you're almost guaranteed to wound on 2s.
You're only taking 6 wounds off.
You are, and I'm talking
you're
about
guaranteed to get those 6 wounds almost.
I mean, let's look at things like Land Raiders as well. You're talking about things that might at that point be lower than their original starting number of wounds. It could be quite important.
Now, yeah, Land Raiders definitely that could be, and you don't even need your chapter.
I think
to do tanks.
I think Eliminators are amazing. I think they're really, really good. I don't like the fact that they can have 3 models. I wish they could have more.
Yes.
However, Intercessors now are interesting as snipers themselves.
So you didn't see that. I was really surprised when you spotted this. This was in the Indominus Crusade book.
The 3 command point sniper stratagem for
Is it 3? I think it's 2.
It's 3.
Is it? You got it in front of you?
Yes. I haven't got it in front of me, but I know it's 3. I've read it once.
Okay. The other 2.
You keep talking and I'll look.
The rapid fire one and the assault fire one are both 2 CP, which is my point that I wanted to go on to, was you used to pay 1 to make them veterans and then 1 for the rapid fire or the stalker pattern or the assault auto hitting combination. So now you don't have to make them veterans, which means you're like, well, I'm paying more because I'm not getting as much because there is a veteran strat. So if I wanted veteran intercessors hitting with the rapid fire thing, then that's 3 CP. But technically, because they're a strat, you could be more flexible. So now I take 2 squads of 5, and I can say, well, this one's taken 2 models out. I can then use the strat over here on the other one. Whereas before, you were building that unit specifically at the start of the game to be...
Again, it gives you more tactical flexibility.
It's a lot more tactical flexibility.
Target sighted, Intercessor Squad. For snipers, it's 3 CPs. I've been asked a question: can las fusils snipe? Nope, absolutely not. They're a heavy weapon. The Executioner, Hyperfang, and Mortis rounds all say can target characters, even if they're not the nearest visible.
Yep.
Las fusils don't have that rule. Covering fire is an amazing rule. The first time this unit's Eliminator Sergeant fires Overwatch with his instigated bolt carbine in your opponent's turn, this unit can, after it has resolved its Overwatch, move as if it were your movement phase. So you can fire an Overwatch and fall back, which is really, really cool. And obviously you've got concealed positions, which is really cool. So I think Eliminators, because someone asked about Eliminators, is really, really good. I think they're an amazing unit. There's more flexibility. I don't know whether I would take the las fusils over the snipers.
Does the sniper rule say natural hit?
For what?
An unmodified roll of a 6.
What for? For mortal wounds.
Mortal wounds.
With the Mortis round, this weapon can target a character unit even if it is not the closest enemy unit. When resolving an attack made with this weapon, a wound roll of 6+ inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target. So, with your
+1 to wound,
and with this guided aim and your prayer, that's not called a prayer, is it? Your litany. Yes, you'll be mortal wounded on 4+, but it's a single mortal wound.
Yeah.
But yeah, you will be mortal wounded on 4+, which is important, of course. Yeah. So if you're firing your Mortis round at a character in the first turn with the litany on and your sergeant doing guided aim, you've got a strength 5 with +2 to wound at AP -3, D3 damage and mortal wounding on 4+.
Bye big bossy character.
Yeah, that's quite nice actually.
No more hiding in the shadows.
So I've been asked some questions as well. This has been going on over the weekend as well actually, about the new Primaris transport, the Impulsor.
Yes.
I have very mixed feelings about this.
I agreed with your feelings until I came up with my little idea.
Yeah, which we're going to go on to because I know you've been dying to talk about it because you brought it up as soon as you walked in the door pretty much.
I did.
So the Impulsor, as a bog standard transport for Primaris, it's actually ridiculously cheap. So it comes with 2 Storm Bolters as standard and no other equipment, and with 2 Storm Bolters it maxes out at 79 points. So that was almost the same cost as what a Rhino used to be until they dropped 5 points off the cost of a Rhino. I think 5.7 points, whichever. They've dropped the points of Rhinos anyway. So, Impulsors with no extra weapons, 79 points. You can add more weapons. You can add all the gun. Of course you can. It's a Primaris hover tank. All the guns would be... It's weird without all the guns. You can stick a Bellicatus missile array on it, which has 3 different modes of fire. Your normal crack and frag. And then you've got Icarus, which is heavy D3, +1 against fly. to hit, of course. You've got Fragstorm grenade launchers, Iron Hail heavy stobbers, and Iron Hail Sky Talon array, which is heavy 6, strength 4, AP -1, 1 damage when resolving an attack made against fly. Add 1 to hit. So actually, with the Icarus missiles and Iron Hail Sky Talon array, you've got some decent anti-air there. That's +1 to hit. A point to note against the Latop flyers, they still end up an overall natural -1 because they're -2 because they're a flyer. But it's better than what you had before, right? It's better than nothing. You can obviously equip all those weapons. I don't know what the exact points are. I could look, but I don't want to. Has Angels of Death. Of course it does.
Yeah.
It's got the normal repulsor field, so it still reduces charge moves by two inches.
2, yeah.
And it's got the assault vehicle rule, which stops you from assaulting. This is a weird one.
Yes.
After this model moves in your movement phase, if this model did not advance, any units embarked aboard it can disembark. And I went, amazing. We can deliver Reavers finally in a way that is not infiltrated. Blah blah. Anyway, units that do so,
assault, and went off on that.
That's
that
me,
range.
right? That's the world eater in me.
What? And they've got extra attacks and Primaris, and you could just throw things at them, and then you go no.
Then the last sentence, it says units that do so cannot be chosen to charge with that taunt. Why do that?
And then you go, well, it's okay. They've got Melter. No, they haven't got Melter. So stick Hell
it's okay because we can because the big thing that was on Reddit or Bolter and Chainsaw or something was about putting 3 Flamestorm aggressors. No, can't take aggressors.
And stick Hellblasters in, then you've got rapid fire Hellblasters.
There's other stuff in here that's good. You can give the unit, you can give the model a 4+ invulnerable save. That's really nice. A 4+ invulnerable save on your transport that you can suddenly chuck your characters in. Because you can put characters in, obviously. You can put a character in it with 5 intercessors. You can just fill it with 3 or 4 characters if you want to. That then has a 4+ invulnerable save. I really like that. Orbital comms array. Choose it in your shooting phase. Pick a model from your army with an orbital comms array that has not been used as battle. You can use it to call an orbital barrage, blah, blah, blah. So you get to orbital bombard. It's orbital bombardment, but without 3 command points, I think. Anyway.
Yeah.
And it explodes. This model has a transport capacity of 6 Primaris infantry models. It cannot transport jump pack or Mark 10 Gravis armor models.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why we have the assault vehicle rule and yet we can't charge. That doesn't seem to make much sense to me.
No, it doesn't. But it doesn't bother me.
No, you've got your own little combination that you think. Okay, so here is Brom's tactical top tips.
I'm not sure it's a tactical top tip, but it's amazing.
Go
on. So this thing moves 14 inches, and then you can get out. So you disembark 3 inches. And thinking assault bolters here, and then you move. It allows you to move, so you move another 6 inches. So we've now travelled a long distance. You've then got 24-inch assault bolters that at half range, with a stratagem, can auto hit. So for 2 CP, you've got assault 3 flamers. 15 shots at strength 4. Get the right tactical doctrine on, the combat doctrine on for -1. So you got strength 4 -1, 1 wound, which is amazing. And then you get your chaplain out and you go +1 to wound.
Yeah, on the nearest unit.
Yeah,
because you
or
fire it forward.
lieutenant gets
out. A
go,
point to note: you don't get 6 inches of movement with this. You get 14 inches of movement.
That's what I said, 14.
Yeah, so you move this 14, then you get 9 out.
Then you get 9 out.
Yeah, 3 inches disembark. Yeah,
that's what I said. I just broke it down.
Oh, right, okay, right. Yeah. Sorry.
So I think I worked it out as having 35-inch threat radius with flamers.
Well, essentially flamers.
Yeah, 12-inch flamers.
Yeah, which are AP -1, like you say, with tactical doctrine, which is really quite important.
Yeah, so there's a bye-bye screen, 15 shots.
And actually, depending on your chapter tactics, etc., for example, being able to advance and shoot assault weapons without penalty with that tactical doctrine thing that we talked about, not tactical doctrine, sorry, the Successor chapter tactic, actually you can get out and advance and still do that. So your threat
I hadn't even added that.
Your threat range is even bigger than 35 inches, right? Your threat range could be up to sort of near enough 40-inch threat range.
And you auto hit, so you don't even need to play that strat. You just...
Oh, Ebon Meister's already torn you apart.
No,
it doesn't work, Brom.
Why not?
Prayers or litanies, if you're, and he's right with this as well, by the way. Start the battle round litanies. You don't do them, so you can't get out and cast your prayer. So you can't do your litany inside the transport. So,
can you not? It doesn't say that.
Yes, it does.
Where does it say that?
Because when you're inside a transport, you're not on the field of play, so you can't do litanies. Can you cast psychic powers from inside transports?
No,
it's the same thing.
Shut up, Evan Meister. I had it, so you just get your lieutenant out, and then he re-rolls ones.
Yeah, it's better, isn't it? That's all right. Fine. One of the biggest changes. Should we talk about one of the biggest changes in the new Marine book?
I don't think it's in there, by the way.
What?
The litanies thing, when you can do it. I haven't found the rules. I was meant to ask you before we started.
Okay. Should we talk about one of the biggest changes so far to Marines that we've also been screaming? So much stuff we've been screaming for, and GW listened. Drop pods.
Yes.
Turn 1.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
What do we think about
that? I like it.
Thanks very much.
My drop pods are red, unfortunately, so I can't actually do anything with them yet. But they might be going blue, and then I'd have to get some more units and go in them. But what's nice is they've actually explained that to allow you a bit more flexibility. You can actually null deploy.
And this is what I was bringing up when I said, what do we think about it? Because a couple of people, Ridley, got very upset when they realised that an enemy army could completely 100% null deploy on turn 1 if they took everything mounted inside drop pods. Now, I'm going to go on record as saying, I don't think it's that bad. Because at that point, they are taking all mini-marines inside drop pods. So yes, you lose your turn 1, and then they're deploying all their mini-marines. I don't think it's that much of a problem.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that much of a problem. I'm happy, obviously, to be completely proved wrong. But I don't think it's too much of an issue, to be honest with you.
People are still going on about my idea. Actually, because you couldn't get the tactical doctrine until turn 2, guys, you could have your chaplain with a jump pack on the field and jump him forward 12 in prep for this, and then they could be caught up by your transport. Sorry,
this is now
turning into Brom show. Sorry,
it's not that. That's fine. It's just it's becoming quite an effort to get these flamers to work with the litany. I don't think we're that fussed about the litany.
No, we'll go with
at this stage, right? Because the auto hitting is fine anyway. I'm not sure we're that bothered about it.
It's the wounding. That's the struggle. Because
don't
it's only
forget, you've
4.
also got things like Phobos lieutenants and stuff like that as well that you can infiltrate with the unit, etc. So there's lots of little nuances. Basically, this is proving my point, though. It's proving my point that there's lots of new combinations and sort of stuff that you can put together and work together to make these.
I never wanted
really
assault bolters. Now I want 5 assault bolters.
Yeah, because they're 3 wounds each.
3 shots each. Yeah.
I also like the fact that White Scars are very like White Scars Reavers are a thing now. I think if you can get them to last till turn 3. So, one thing that we've got with Reavers, and you can tell me if this is in the Ultramarines book or not, I don't know if it is, but one thing we've got with Reavers, for example, is you get bonuses to your combat doctrine for being, White Scars. You get bonus to your combat doctrine. So, White Scars have a special rule that says that when the assault doctrine is active, in addition to the -1 on your melee weapons, they become 2 damage. So chainswords, if you're in turn 3 or onwards with White Scars, are AP -1 and 2 damage.
Add 1 to the damage characteristics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Add 1 to the damage. That's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah. Whilst the assault doctrine is active, exactly as you say, resolving the attack may be made with a melee weapon by this model with this ability in a unit that you've charged or performed a heroic intervention. Add 1 to your damage characteristics of that weapon for that attack. There is a lot of that, by the way. That they should be specific that weapon for that attack type wording. I think it just needs a bit of rereading in some places. I still think it's multiple attacks, like for each attack. So it's every time you go through the motions, because you got to remember the order of doing operations in 40k is take this attack, resolve that attack. So that they're kind of going through that motion. It's not all attacks and do all of your. You can apply quick rolling afterwards. Yeah. If you understand the rule, you just have to be a bit clever. That's weird
how it works, right? Yeah. Because quick rolling is something we all sort of naturally do.
Naturally, all the time.
And yet, actually, the rules, that's not what it tells you to do.
No, it's very specific about doing.
But it does say
roll.
You get +1 to your damage rolls for assault weapons in.
Exactly.
For melee weapons.
When you charge or heroically intervene.
Yeah, which is quite good.
Yeah.
We really like that. That means 2 damage Reaver combat knives at AP -1, 2 damage chainswords at AP -1. I quite like it. Rich Thompson's asked a question about gravatic amplification. Uses a stratagem when Adeptus starts unit from your army is chosen to shoot with until the end of the phase. When resolving an attack made with a grav cannon and grav amp by model in that unit, you can reroll wound rolls. Can devs take grav cannons and grav amps? I thought devs were just grav cannons. I thought grav cannons and grav amps were centurions only.
That's what I thought. That's what mine have.
I'm checking quickly.
I don't have any devs with that. I've never put grav.
No, yours are all. So Devastator squads can take
multi-melter
weapons from the heavy weapon list, and luckily we haven't changed the fact that we have to flick from page to page to find out what weapons
They're
are.
in a bit of a different order. It is kind of logical and it does kind of follow similar, but you're flicking about quite a lot.
It's not as easy to find.
Yeah, but there's a lot more.
Heavy weapons, grav cannon and grav amp. I stand corrected, Mr. Skinner. It does say that grav
happened.
cannons, grav anks are heavy weapons, and Devastators can take heavy weapons. So yeah, that's a really nice stratagem, right? So 1 command point that as well. Reroll fail to wounds, reroll the damage as well.
I like that. They've got a warlord trait that says if an enemy unit is within 1 inch of this warlord, it can on a 4+, it can't fall back.
Are you literally live reading the White Scars Codex?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I might need a wee though.
okay.
So, if you could, have you got a break thing in your new
I do.
combination?
Are you ready for this?
Guys,
Let's
we're
go to
going to
studio
test a new
mode.
thing.
So I have to click on studio mode, and then I have to go to be right back, like this. And then when I do this crazy transition, so think of some questions, chuck them in there. We're going to have a quick toilet break. We'll be right back. People of YouTube, you won't notice any difference.
Nope.
And just like out the back.
Hiya.
Yep. Hiya.
Yes, real men would hold it, but I'm too excited to be able to do
And
that.
those guys on YouTube have no idea what you're saying.
I know. There's odd comments. You have to be in the chat to know it.
Yeah, come and join us live on Twitch
Yay.
with what is currently today our biggest ever audience. So
Yeah,
thank you
doing
everyone
well.
for joining us. Anyway, we've still got some more time. We've got much more time. Well, I've got much more time. I don't know how much time you've got.
I don't know yet.
But
sure
yes,
she'll bang on the door.
Mr. Ridley has asked questions about White Scars, which is actually quite interesting because I think on the whole on YouTube so far they've not actually had much love, and I actually quite like the book. It's quite nice.
I would say that the book cover looks amazing, but I've not opened it until right now, and I read that one thing.
So Ridley's asked about White Scars not chapter tactics, relics, warlord traits, and psychic powers. There's also a bunch of strats. There's two pages of strats. We'll skim through some of them in a minute, but Brom's going to do his best at talking about some White Scar stuff
as quickly and as well as I can. So Ridley, this is for you, and the rest of you guys because you need to see it. So they've got some warlord traits. They've got 6 of them. They got 6 of everything. To be fair. An absolute ton of relics, some special issue war gear, exactly what the other supplement has. Some of their warlord traits. Okay, Deadly Hunter. Basically, when your warlord finishes a charge move, you know when I say basically, I'm rereading, and you might need to reread some of these rules.
Just read it verbatim. It's easy that way, isn't it?
Yeah. Finishes a charge move. You can select 1 enemy unit within 1 inch, and on a D6, on a 2, that suffers a mortal wound. So it's that crushing blow, basically. Crushing charge, but on a 2+, suffer a mortal wound. That's pretty good, especially if you're going charging in everywhere and you're going assault everything. You've got the Master of Snares, which is the one on a 4+. That model, that unit cannot fall back. You've got Trophy Taker. When this warlord destroys an enemy character model, add 1 to the attack characteristics until the end of the battle. It doesn't say when you destroy an enemy character.
What does it say?
Just says destroys an enemy character. Shoot them to death.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as long as you kill the character.
Yeah.
But the warlord's got to do that, right?
Yeah. Your warlord has to destroy, take the last wound, basically.
So I suggest that's not a great one. It's not terrible, but it's not a great one.
Terrible.
It's good for narrative stuff.
I like the snare one. The snare's one. But how often do things? Well, if you played Ultramarines, then stopping them falling back is quite big.
Yeah.
Or
Eldari with all their fly keyword skimmers and stuff.
Or any Chaos Marine unit, because they've been charged, then they wouldn't get this shock attack.
Read that rule to me again.
So what, the Master of Snares?
Yeah.
When an enemy unit within 1 inch of your warlord is chosen to fall back, you can roll a d6 on a 4+. That unit cannot fall back this time.
So if you have a White Scars warlord with a jump pack and you charge a flyer on a 4+,
what people have said.
They can't fall back, and the flyer's destroyed.
Yes.
Ooh.
That's what people have said. I've seen that comment on Discord where the since the release, and it's quite possible. There was also something about being able to not have the fly keyword and charge things, but I think you still, to be able to hit
you still have
that
to charge.
unit.
Yeah, you can't charge.
You can't consolidate into a flyer. You can't.
No.
You can't move into base to base within an inch unless you've got the fly keyword.
But that is an interesting warlord trait to stick on
jump pack.
Smash Captains, especially when you also consider that Smash Captains gain things like Angels of Death, etc. And there are now stratagems in the Marine books that allow you to take an additional warlord trait on someone who's not your warlord. So you don't have to be fearful about making the Smash Captain a warlord and then he's going to die when you chuck him forward. Actually, you can make another captain your warlord somewhere else, and then your Smash Captain just gets a warlord trait, and you can start tying flyers up. And it doesn't matter that you're an AP -3 to hit a LATOC flyer, because I'll tie you up, and if you can't fall back, and basically it's a 50-50 chance, you're just going to crash and burn. That's it. Although, to be fair, if it's an Atoc Hemlock, you are eating 2d3 auto flamer hits in Overwatch. So,
Yeah. They've got Hunter's Instinct, which I think is the one that they had before, the specific White Scars one, which is add 1 to hit rolls and wound rolls against monster and vehicles for your Warlord when they make an attack.
Okay.
So that there is a few more, but I'm not going to give you all of them. Jeez.
We've got wives to go to.
The Relics, they're so live reading the Relics. I haven't read them at all yet. But this one looks really cool because it's got a melee weapon on it. So a model equipped with a power sword, master crafted power sword, or a relic blade only. There is a few of these actually.
Yeah.
Each one has got one. It replaces that and has a melee +1 strength -3 2 damage. So this is there is an ability as well, which I'll read out in a minute. But this is quite common. They've been bumping up the power sword relics because they used to be minus the Ultramarines ones and -5 and then 1 damage for the burning blade,
yeah,
which I liked, but it's just not damage enough. Like it's just
the
not
burning
enough.
blade's now 2 damage.
Yeah, 2 damage.
Unless you're a White Scar and then you got Assault Doctrine active, it's 3 damage.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And then on an unmodified roll of a 6, this damage characteristic of 4 for that attack.
Okay, that's good.
So that's an unmodified roll of a 6 goes to 4 +1 for your so it's a 5.
Yeah, if you're White Scars in the assault phase, you can have a 5 damage sword. Yeah,
5 damage.
Yeah,
relic blade.
Yeah,
stabby stick.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? I love that. That's really cool.
When advancing and charging, so plume of plains runner. Plume of the Plains Runner. There we go. All right, I will read.
Live stuff from Brom.
When an advance roll or charge roll is made for a friendly White Scars infantry unit within 6 inches of a model from your army with this relic, add 1 to the result. All right, I think I just read the most boring one.
Well done, mate.
Yeah, sorry. Ridley, there's quite a lot in here. Hunter's Eye, Banner of the Eagle.
The Whispering Eye, is that what you said?
Yeah. Add 1 to strength characteristics of models with in friendly White Scars units whilst they're within 6 inches of the model with this relic. So you can make your units hit on 5s. Oh, yeah, your Primaris is strength 5.
Yeah.
That would be really good.
Not bad, is it?
Reavers, strength 5.
Some good stuff.
2 damage knives.
Only in Assault Doctrine. Like, we should state that this extra damage we're talking about is only with Assault Doctrine active, because White Scars give you an additional benefit to Assault Doctrine, which is +1 to damage.
So there's a cool rule, which is in the main rule book, that allows you to give sergeants special issue war gear.
Yes.
It's a strat.
It's a strat, yes.
So you play a strat and you can give a sergeant special issue war gear. So, for example, you can give a sergeant in any squad, scout squad, for example, when a model takes this relic, which is the adamantium mantle, with this relic, loses a wound, roll a d6, and on a 5+, it's not lost. So you got to feel no pain on your scout sergeant. It's plausible. I'm not sure you'd do it, but it's plausible and totally doable. So if your character, this is where the narrative comes in. If your character just wouldn't die and he kept fighting and kept fighting and kept fighting and just somehow made all the saves, well, the next time you play him, he gets to feel no pain.
Yeah. The sergeant thing that you were talking about, I seem to think that might be an Ultramarines one because it's not in the main book.
Then I'd feel really sorry for you.
However, one thing I've noticed actually, which is something that's quite interesting, because some of the relics are quite decent. The Shield Eternals change. You don't get to half damage anymore, but it is a 5+ feel no pain. I think it's kind of better like that, or better, I should say, if I'm enunciating properly. The 5+ feel no pain, I think, is better than what it was before. However, I have just noticed, was looking at relics, that relics of the chapter, which is a stratagem that you use before the battle begins to give your characters an additional relic. It used to be 1/3 command points. Do you remember?
Yeah.
In fact, every single codex I've seen so far has a 1/3 command point relic. You spend a command point to give one more character an additional relic. You spend 3 to give 2. Relics of the chapter is now 1 command point. Use this stratagem before the battle. Your army can have 1 additional chapter relic. All of the relics your army includes must be different and given to different models. So if you want 2 additional relics, it's only 2 command points now. If you want 3 additional relics, it's 3, 4, 4. You can keep spending it because it's before the battle starts. So unless they FAQ this, you can now take as many relics as you want for your Marines, and you only pay a command point per relic. That's quite nice. Hero of the Chapter is the one command point stratagem
That's
as well,
what
where
I
you
want.
select a character and you gain a warlord trait. It counts as the warlord for the purposes of the trait, but isn't in fact your warlord. So now you can take a separate character away from your warlord, give him a trait, give him a relic, couple of command points it costs, but we're in the same park as things like Knights now, where you're gaining extra characters and extra traits. I actually really like it. You can make your heroes, which is really quite nice. I'm a big fan of that. Read out loud. We're on a podcast. I can't hear you.
No, you
whisper.
were still talking, so I was. Sorry, Windswift. So for 2 CP, Ridley, use the stratagem in the movement phase. After a White Scars unit from your army has moved, that unit can move a second time in this phase, but it can only advance as part of that move if it has not already done so at that phase. So it can only do advance once.
Yeah. So people have asked,
Can't shoot, though.
you mean there are in fact other chapters than Ultramarines? The interesting
I'm not
thing,
sure, but yes.
not for you there isn't, no. But
No,
the interesting
no.
thing with these books is I now don't think you're just going to see Ultramarines. I genuinely, honestly believe that you're going to see a lot more flavour now in Marine books, which is really nice. I'm a real fan of this. A real fan of this, actually.
There is, like, and we, in all the other bits, there's been copy paste, just rewording. These are different, and this is why I'm struggling. I am seeing similar ones. So Gift of Khan is the same as Honoured by McCragg, so that you can give characters special issue war gear. That's the ones that you can give your character model. It's to do with sergeants, is mine. You can give people special issue war gear. I'm not even going to go into it a bit more, but you should read that. So some of them are very similar, but the majority are very unique. Like they must have ride hard, ride fast. That isn't in the Ultramarines book. There's only one book that's coming from, and that says use the stratagem after White Scars unit from your army advances until the start of your next phase, movement phase. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon against this, subtract 1 from the hit roll.
No, I don't
Jinx.
know. I don't know if I'm looking at something and wanting it to work this way,
Oh, what you saying?
or whether this is in fact the way it works. Rich Thompson's just said, if Dark Angels get that, I can make a Chaplain in Terminator Armor, a Warlord for Master of Maneuver to get the Deathwing Knights into combat. Now, I think you can do that anyway. I'll explain. If your army is Battleforged and includes any Space Marine detachments, so all you have to do is have a Space Marine detachment, okay? Excluding auxiliary support detachments, you have access to the stratagems shown here. So I don't know if you're going to like this, Rich. I don't know if this fits your narrative. But what you could do at this point is you can make a Successor Chapter Space Marine detachment, even if it's a patrol, 1 Troops Choice, 1 HQ, okay? That happens to be painted Dark Angels colours, and you happen to have picked your 2 successor traits that sort of fit with Dark Angels as well, rerolling 1s for bolt weapons, that kind of thing. What happens then is you gain access to the stratagems shown here. You can then spend command points to activate them. They reflect the unique strategies used by the Adeptus Astartes. If a stratagem is used before the battle to upgrade a unit, e.g. Chapter Master, and you have an army roster, you must note on it which stratagems are used to upgrade which units. So, you take a patrol detachment of 1 HQ from this book, maybe a librarian because you want some of the librarian traits or something faux bossy, or I don't know, something that might support your Raven God or your Deathwing. And you take a squad of scouts or intercessors. All of the stratagems either target Adeptus Astartes or Sternguard veterans or intercessors. So actually, the relic stratagem, Relics of the Chapter, or Hero of the Chapter, use this stratagem before the battle. After nominating your warlord, select 1 Adeptus Astartes character model from your army. Your Deathwing Chaplain thing that you've got in your Dark Angels book is an Adeptus Astartes character. So for a cheap patrol detachment, you will gain access to all the Adeptus Astartes stratagems in this book for your Dark Angels.
Doesn't it say at the very start of this era, around where it does the tactical doctrines and stuff, about those other founding chapters?
No. In what way? In what way?
I thought it had something that says that none of these can be affected by it at the moment. There was a specific ruling.
Space Marine units and detachments. In the rules described in this section, we sometimes refer to Space Marines units and detachments. A Space Marine unit is any Adeptus Astartes unit that has the following faction keywords: keyword chapter, so you make your own. Ultramarines, Imperial Fists, Salamanders, White Scars, Raven Guard, Iron Hands, Crimson Fists, and Black Templars. A Space Marine detachment is a detachment that only includes Space Marine units. Note that the Space Wolves, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Death Watch, Grey Knights, and Legions of the Damned deviate significantly in terms of organisation and fighting styles. These chapters therefore cannot make use of any of the rules in this section, instead their own rules and other publications. However, does that then refer to...
No, it says Space Marines.
In this section, you'll find rules for Battleforged armies that include Space Marines attachments as defined below. The rules include abilities below and a series of stratagems. So maybe that, no, I don't know, because
the others.
So this is in the Legacy of the Primarch section, which I'll very quickly show you. Legacy of the Primarch, which says Space Marine units and detachments. Space Marine units, unique warlord traits, psychic discipline. So it does state actually these rules include the abilities below and a series of stratagems. This section also includes the Space Marines' unique warlord traits, psychic disciplines, relics, and tactical objectives. Together with those rules, reflect the character and fighting style of the Space Marines army. I think I just lied to everybody. Because although Rich is right, although it says the strat says Adeptus Astartes, it does state these chapters therefore cannot make any use of any of the rules in this section, and instead have their own rules in other publications, which would mean that Dark Angels can't make use of a stratagem, which is a rule in this section. I think. Am I right?
I think you're right.
So I think what I told you about taking a cheap, what I thought I'd found with taking a cheap patrol detachment to get access to the strats for things like Dark Angels and Blood Angels, I actually don't think you can take them. No. And I also think that the reason why American Rob was originally asking the question was because he wanted to use the stratagems on his Grey Knights.
Yeah, so there was some mention of Grey Knights up the feed a bit. But.
Yeah, so I don't think you'll gain access to the strats and stuff in here for Adeptus Astartes units.
But
I don't think,
based on this, Dark Angels are going to get some love.
Oh, I'll be
Blood
honest
Angels
and say
will
that
get some serious flavour.
If you are, so there's been a lot of upset on Tinterweb about people who are Dark Angels players, Blood Angels players, Face Wolf players, etc. And their concern that Vanilla Marines getting all this love and they're getting nothing. They can't drop everything at once because we can't review it all in time. But they can't drop everything at once. They just can't. There's already been a leak about the latest White Dwarf and some Dark Angels updates in it. So I think it's coming. I think you're going to find you get access to a lot of stuff that currently you don't get access to, and I think you'll get a reworked Codex. Why wouldn't you? We've already seen a reworked Heretic Astartes one. We've now seen a reworked Astartes one. I would imagine that slowly but surely, whether we want to call it 8.5 or not, I don't know, but we're going to see a rework of all the codexes within 40k.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I think they pointed out on TTT that actually your Chaos one was a 0.2, wasn't it? It was a Chaos 2.
It said it's got a 2 on the cover, which is interesting. This doesn't have that.
No.
So I don't know whether that means there'll be another Chaos Codex. I have no idea.
Yeah, maybe there could be is.
But
there's a lot in it.
In time. And like I say, it won't all happen at once, and they can't drop the Marine Codex and then do Dark Angels and then do Blood Angels and then do Grey Knights because they'll annoy people who are Xenos players or whatever. So you will probably see a gap between, but I would imagine you will see an updated Codex for Blood Angels and Dark Angels. I know you've said we've seen Codex CSM2, but nothing on Thousand Sons of Death Guard. Again, I'd imagine they're coming. I've got no doubt that they're probably coming. So don't panic too much. That stuff's all going to happen. But yeah, it's interesting, right? It's exciting times for Astartes players in general. And although if you're a Blood Angels player, you're currently sat on the edge of your seat because you currently don't have the new drop pods. You currently don't have all the new stratagems. You currently don't have loads of new chapter tactics. It is exciting that this stuff is probably coming. And
I'd be doing it is building them anyway. Because
I wouldn't be surprised if you find a FAQ drop that gives, say, Blood Angels and Dark Angels and Space Wolves access to specific rules changes. Yeah. So what it might be is just an errata that drops that says add this sentence to your drop pods, i.e. it's exempt from match play. It's not here now. It's not here at this stage, but I think it will come. I think you will get it. Blood Angels players, yay, my land ready gets +1 to win on the charge. Loving it.
Gwen, you need to change the colour of your name. All I know is that you're really annoying because I can't read it.
I'm annoyed about Marines and CSM for the whole edition so far.
But you're an Eldar, so of course you are.
Darren's annoyed at life in general. It's not saying much. He's annoyed at Chaos Space Marines and Space Marines.
There's it's equipped with 2 iron stove 1. So I had really early on. I've been trying to keep up with some of the questions. Someone asked about stubber replacement on the war suit. No, I can't see anything that says about replacing the stubbers. You can equip it with one iron hail autocannon instead of the flamer, but why would you?
It's not. Is it a flamer or is it? Oh yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Viking XTK says I will panic. Thank you very much. Well, you're welcome to. I'm just saying you shouldn't. You can if you want.
I'm not going to give you all the points in it because we don't really want to go into points. We like rules. But that tactical suit as a base price is 90 points. 90 points, but that's without war gear. So
yeah, it's
you've now got to work out
30 points. I think with war gear, 131 points with war gear. I think.
Did you add that up?
Yeah.
See, Liam's nice to you. He's gone through. Captain in Gravis armor. Someone asked if it gained a wound. I don't think it will have.
Captain in Gravis. Well, Gravis models in general have gained a wound.
Yeah, but they already had one extra wound.
What do they have in the first place? 5 or 6?
Well, if someone knows quicker than I can look it up on my phone, but they've
Whilst
now
you're
got
looking
7.
it up on your phone, we're going to talk about the Storm Speaking Discipline because Ridley's asked about the White Scars psychic powers, and since you made a massive hash of reading anything from this book, I thought I'd take it off you for a brief moment. There's 6 psychic powers. I'd imagine every single chapter is going to get its own 6 psychic powers, its own discipline. We seem to see that anyway. But yes, Rich, who's catching up, aggressors are 3 wounds and they now have 3 attacks as well. So there's 6 psychic powers. Blasting Gale, warp charge value of 7. Select an enemy within 18 inches and visible. Until the start of your next psychic phase, that unit cannot advance. And when a charge roll is made for it, roll 1 fewer d6 to a minimum of 1, which means you can really slow down World Eaters, etc., because it's 1d6 charge and they can't advance. That's nice. Lightning Call, warp charge value of 7. Select the closest enemy unit within 18 inches of Psyker. It suffers d3 mortal wounds. If the unit is not destroyed, roll a d6. On a 4 plus another mortal wound. Then a d6. On a 5 plus another mortal wound. Then a d6. Or a 6 plus another mortal wound. So it just keeps going, basically, unless you don't roll the required number.
Which is like the headshot, isn't it? And
yeah.
Everyone hates headshot.
Wolfbot says 7 wounds is more wounds for a Gravis Captain. Thanks, Brom. So yeah, it is 1 more wound. That's good.
Yeah, it is. I did look it up. It is. I pulled a face, but
can we also check the aggressors' points whilst I'm talking through the psychic powers, please? People are very interested in aggressors right now, and that's good because they're very strong. I think now. I think aggressors are amazing now. They were good before, right?
Yeah.
Ride the Winds is the 3rd psychic power in the White Scar discipline. Has a warp charge value of 6. Select a friendly White Scars unit within 12 inches and still start of the next psychic phase. When an advanced roll or charge roll is made for that unit, add 2 to the result. Storm Weathered is number 4. Warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select 1 friendly White Scars unit within 12 inches of the Psyker. Until the start of your next psychic phase, enemy units cannot fire Overwatch at that unit, and after that unit finishes a charge mode, for each model in the unit, you can select 1 enemy unit within an inch, and on d6 result of a 6, it suffers a single mortal wound. Spirits of Kogoris, I think, is the name. It's number 5. Warp charge value of 6. Select an enemy unit within 18 inches and visible to the Psyker. Until the start of your next psychic phase, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristics of the models in that unit. When resolving an attack made by a model in that unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So you can make things -1 to hit, basically, with that psychic power. And then Eye of the Storm is the final one. Warp charge value of 6. If manifested, roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 12 inches of the Psyker, adding 1 to the result if that unit can fly. On a 4 plus, it suffers a single mortal wound. That is how you read things out from a book.
I'm good. And while you're doing that, I'm trying to add up in my head silently. So with the Flamestorm Gauntlets, see, we're answering loads of things. Ridley, you better have got all of that. With the Flamestorm Gauntlets, they are 35 points each. And with all the bolters is, I think, 2 more points than that. Yeah, so they're 12 plus 4 instead of 14 for their weapons. I'm trying to find their ranged weapons.
What's the base cost of an aggressor?
21.
21 points for the base cost of an aggressor. How much is a Flamestorm Gauntlet?
14.
How much is a Boltstorm Gauntlet?
12.
There you go. There's your answer, people. You can add them up yourselves.
And Fragstorm.
Yeah.
You have to add the Fragstorm, and Fragstorm is 4.
There you go. So now work out what you need to put your particular aggressor together, and there you go.
So they're about 100 points.
For 3. Yeah.
105 points, something like that.
So Rich says it's the same as now, and it is the same as now, but you do get an additional wound and you do get an additional attack. So you get more for your points, which is quite nice.
Which is
3 points each.
And you got Angels of Death.
And 3 points each for aggressors. I think it's actually really important because it means aggressors can't be nailed by flat 2 damage weapons, of which there's a lot of in 40k. I was always amazed when I flew something like a Hemlock over your aggressors and each successful wound killed one. That's gone. Yeah. That doesn't happen anymore. I need 2 successful wills to kill one. So I actually think it's pretty good.
You could always do that. Though,
Andy H says, does the book come in large print for Brom?
it's not the C in it that's a problem. It's the translating my eyes into words, guys.
Brom is a traditional male who struggles significantly to multitask. So
I like to know my content. And seeing as I have not read this for long enough,
we must apologise. It is a massive, massive thanks to Games Workshop for giving these books, but they did turn up on Friday.
Yeah.
And I was on nights for 3 nights, so it's really hard. Like, if I was off on Saturday, we'd have streamed on Saturday night, and I've had the whole of Saturday to consume this. We probably would have sat around a table and just read books and talked about it. So by the time we've come to this stream, we would have known everything that was going on. Poor old Winters got the books, had to speed read and record before he went on tonight, so he could get the video up on Saturday. Like, it's really difficult, which is why some things may have been missed on some of these streams and videos and podcasts, etc. Because we didn't have them for very long before we could read them out to you guys.
But if people stop taking photos of them, you might get them earlier.
Yeah. Awkward.
Which is why you won't get a photo from anyone to do with Moarhammer ever.
Anywho, right, okay. Is there any more questions?
There was, I think, was the Bobby G nerf valid?
Necessary. I saw that one earlier, actually.
Yeah. And how bad is it?
I really like the nerf.
Yeah.
Now, I think his overall points cost is now 350, am I right?
Correcto.
Which
is fine.
So 350 points is a 50-point reduction because it was 400 previously. He has lost the reroll failed to wounds and just reroll wound rolls of 1.
Yeah. Which I'm alright with.
And that's the only real nerf he's had. His fist has had a buff. It's now AP. It's flat 4 damage now, isn't it? Rather than D3 as it was before, I think.
Yeah, flat 4 damage. So it actually might be taken.
Obviously, he's also got. He's also gained Angels of Death, so he gains an additional attack on the charge. His psychic power has come away from command point farming, which I quite like. Overall, I think he's in a better place now to not see him auto included, but still see him as an incredibly strong Primarch on the battlefield.
What was funny was I'd never put 2 and 2 together before with the fact that he didn't get their chapter tactic.
Yeah.
Until the other day. And this has been a rule. It's in there. Auxiliary super heavies that didn't get the tactics. Now, why would you fall back and shoot with Guilliman?
Yeah, you're not going to. Normally, anything that charges Guilliman is going to get slapped to death before it gets to do anything else anyway. But Rich Thompson's made a good point, which is what I was going to move on to. The most important thing with a nerf for Bobby G and a drop in his points is the buff for all the rest of the units. So we've seen a lot of units have been strengthened in various ways. Stratagems have strengthened, rerolls have strengthened all over the place. I think on the whole, the book has felt a massive resurgence in terms of damage output and power and strength and what have you. And you don't necessarily rely on these castles or these reroll synergies that exist. And that's part, this Guilliman nerf is part of that. So by seeing Guilliman nerfed, other chapters have been made stronger, and that's a good thing because it means we won't be seeing mono Ultramarines everywhere all the time if anyone runs Ultramarines or runs Space Marines.
Yeah.
Now, of course, for people like us who run lots of narrative-based stuff, a lot of people run other units and other chapters and Ultramarines anyway. Yeah. I'm guessing these guys are talking about tournament play, and the thing is, I will say that a lot of this stuff that's changed is reactionary to tournaments.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about tournaments much because I don't want to, because that's not what we're all about. But they are reactionary to what's going on in the tournament scene. And changing him and the way he works is reactionary to what's going on in the tournament scene. And I think it's a positive change. I think he's now not ridiculously powerful. He's still very strong. He's a Primarch. He's still got that 3+ invulnerable save. He's still got 9 wounds and can't be targeted. He's still toughness 6, and he still gets back up.
Yeah.
He's still insanely strong. But we are reducing and removing this need to castle. The standard of the Emperor Ascendant has changed. You gain an additional 3 inches now to the range of the standard, but you don't get +1 to the roll for when you die. Mm-hmm. So you've got a bigger range. It encourages you to have a wider spread of units rather than a real tightly packed castle. There's just so much, I think, that is encouraging you, not necessarily encouraging you to come away from castling, but giving you options instead of castling, which is really, really good.
So, some quick questions. Yes, Rich, Supreme Command Detachment does get it. So, yes, he can fall back and shoot.
As does Super Heavy Detachments.
Yeah. There is also... Does it make him more mobile? Probably, but people should have played him mobile anyway. If you watch him go up against a knight, he just slaps it. So, really play aggressive.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff now with stratagems to do with rapid fire weapons, assault weapons, etc. Some of the other traits that exist and warlord traits and what have you that I just think does lend itself to Bobby G being more mobile. I think you will still see the Bobby G castles, and he will stand there and buff everything until something gets too close, where he steps forward and backhands it into oblivion, because that's what Bobby G's very good at.
But remember, he's like rapid fire, so he's got a rapid fire Hand of Dominion. 3 shots is -1, or is it -2? Because in the right tactic.
But the thing is, you're now paying so you're paying 350 points for Bobby G, right?
Yep.
Now a captain lieutenant combo is 180 points off the top of my head, or something like that. 170 points, roughly.
Yeah, maybe.
Roughly, it's between 150 and 200 points for a captain lieutenant combo with no major upgrades. Okay. You then now pay 2 command points for the Chapter Master Stratagem, which used to be 3 if you want to. So you can pay 2 command points for the Chapter Master Stratagem for your captain, and you have a Chapter Master Lieutenant combo that now does the exact same to Space Marines that Bobby G does. So you can now get the exact same Bobby G buff in any chapter for about 200 odd points less.
You can.
However, you don't get the impossible to kill character who gets back up. You don't get his burning blade. You don't get his Hand of Dominion.
Points.
You don't get his 3 command points. Yep. So there are now reasons to take him other than the buffs and bonuses, because you can quite easily replicate his buffs and bonuses now. I mean, for Christ's sake, there's a psychic power in the Ultramarines book that you cast it, you gain a command point. So spending 2 command points to make someone a Chapter Master isn't that much of a stinger anymore. No. So if your game, if your tactic is to sit back in this castle with now tanks that have AP -4 last cannons and that get chapter tactics, etc., that's fine. You don't need G-Man to do it. So now you're encouraged, and G-Man actually to do it is a lot more points than Lieutenant Captain combo. Because why people took G-Man was really for one reason and one main reason only, and that's reroll all wounds.
Yeah.
Because you could reroll all hits with Chapter Masters anyway, so that wasn't necessarily a bonus to G-Man, but he allows you to reroll all wounds. You lose that now. Lots of people that are looking at gun lines and looking at castles are saying, why pay 350 points now? I've only got reroll win rolls of 1 when I can buy a Captain Lieutenant for about 200 points less, and they're just as effective as to what I want to do.
I'd like to slap you down, Ridley, with the fact that I do know something about the lure. So,
lure is something used in falconry.
Lure. Oh yeah, you did used to do that. Lore. Okay, Ridley, I'm going to slap you with this one. All right. So I started reading the Ultramarines book.
Of course.
With the lore first. Captain Sicarius. He has come down in points, and yeah, that's not to do with lore. But the reason is he's lost in the warp. He's transitioned and he's lost. All right, that's as far as I got in the
this is something else, right?
He's not there. He's not part of the team anymore. Well, he is, but he's lost in the warp. And then they're thinking about him and hoping he comes back. But even Chaplain Cassius, who doesn't like him very much but does respect him.
I'm going to be honest, I'm a little bit surprised. So I was not surprised at Primarisifying Tigerius. Not surprised at that at all. They've already done it with Calgar.
Which we will get, because I've ordered it.
Already done it with Calgar. Already done it with G-Man. Yeah. I wasn't surprised at Primarisifying Tigerius. What I was surprised at was the White Scars book. There's 2 characters. You've got Coruscant Khan and Khan on Moon. Oh, not on Moondraken. Khan on Bike. Yeah. Khan on Bike should not be mistaken with Coruscant Khan. It is not Coruscant Khan on Bike. It's not Coruscant Khan on Moondraken. It's just Khan on Bike. And I made this mistake last week and I got hounded for it. A Khan is essentially the White Scars equivalent of a captain. Yeah. So it's not a Chapter Master either. So Coruscant Khan, Captain of the 3rd Company of the White Scars. I'm super interested in White Scars now, by the way. Captain of the 3rd Company of the White Scars, who rides Moondraken. There is currently no rules at all for Coruscant Khan on Moondraken. Now, that still makes me really sad. So although I was wrong about him being a Chapter Master, I'm still super sad that although he's been Primarisified into what is now one of my favourite Primaris models of all time, I just think it looks cool. I like Falconry. He's got an eagle. Yeah. He doesn't have Moondraken anymore. Anyway, so you've got 2 characters. That's all you've got in the White Scars book. The Ultramarines book has got loads of stuff. There is 3 or 4 pages of units. No, more than that, in fact. And you've still got Captain Cassius. You've still got Tigerius. You've still got Telion. You've still got Cronus. You've still got Sicarius. You've got all those extra Ultramarines characters. So you still have all those Ultramarines characters. What surprises me is that only Tiggy's been Primarisified in this edition of the book. I thought they'd just blanket all of them and upgrade all of them.
I thought they'd do at least 1 or 2 more.
Yeah,
they haven't. Yeah, the rest are the exact same.
No, I don't know if that's a precedent that's been set. I don't know if that's a case of you won't see any more Primarisified. We're done now, or whether they'll just drip feeder in years to come. I don't know.
I think it'll be drip feeding. I think potentially Captain Sicarius could be next. I know you guys are chatting about it and potentially being the next one. Captain Sicarius is not he's been promoted. He's part of the honor guard. That's and then he was sent off. So you guys, Acheron is still the captain of the Ultramarines 2nd Company. Evan Meister, you chucking that out there? He's still in there. See, I'm reading. But Chirs got upgraded to be an honor guard of Guilliman, and then got sent off to do something. And as they were transitioning through the warp, didn't come out the other side.
Now, I will say as well, with regards to the lore question, because I think Quipster asked the lore question originally. Oh, for those of you that are channel fans as well, Quipster's about to launch his 40k YouTube channel, so check it out. I'm sure once he's finally got the title for the channel, he'll put it in the description. But he's just done a podcast for another channel recently, and it's really good. Anyway,
also an absolute legend for getting a kid, replacing a kid's whole Tau army.
Yeah, that's
like,
proper
got
Warhammer
stolen out
community
the back
stuff.
of his mum's car, and so he went on a drive to get more Tau and got 2,700 points worth of Tau
that he then delivered to Manchester from South London.
Yeah, and probably bought them lunch because we've seen a photo of them having
lunch. Anyway,
he's a legend.
Lore-based stuff. So people have been asking questions whether the lore's been upgraded. I'll be honest with you. I haven't read the lore in the Marine Codex. I haven't had time, to be honest. I've been on nights. Brom's been busy, and I couldn't give him the book too early because I can't. So I haven't read the lore. However, what I will say is the main codex has still got pages of lore in it for the founding chapters. So there's still White Scars lore in it. And then we have this, right? So we have the White Scars book. So that has 4 pages of stratagems in it. Where is it there? 4 pages of stratagems in it. 1 page of psychic powers, 1 page of warlord traits, 2 characters, and that's about it. Some relics and that. The rest of it's lore. That's all lore. So that is all lore on the White Scars.
You're over that. So this, so you can't see anything. This on this side is lore, and this, like 12 pages, is so it's like 80 pages in a book, and the rules start on page 62.
So
only 20, less than 20, 18 pages of rules. The rest is lore and pictures. So
basically, the long and short of it is, I think the individual supplements are going to give you a lot of lore and flavour to the chapter that you're picking, should you decide to pick a first founding. Obviously, if you're doing a successor chapter, either you're picking one that already exists in the lore, there just won't be so much anyway, or you're making your own, in which case you make your own lore and you end up with something like the 13th. There has been a question about assassins. Will it affect your combat doctrines? Peg leg Bill. This isn't confirmed. This is my interpretation.
Yeah, I'm of the same.
So please don't take this as gospel. And because there's been lots and lots and lots and lots of questions about this, I would imagine we'll see a FAQ just to clear it up anyway. My honest opinion is if you pay 85 points for the assassin stratagem,
operative.
That's the one. Thank you. Operatives or whatever it's called.
Yep.
I don't think you will have your combat doctrines affected because at the point in which you start your game, you are pure Angels of Death if you have a pure Marine pure Marine army. However, if you take an assassin detachment and add that into your army, that will affect, I think, 100%. Your Angels of Death, unless assassins have unaligned as a keyword.
Ooh.
And I don't know if they do because I haven't got it in front of me. So if assassins have unaligned as a keyword, you're still fine. That'll be okay. If they don't have unaligned as a keyword, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, I think they've got Officer
Assassinorium. Yeah, I think they have
got that as well.
So unaligned is for things like fortifications normally. So people said, what's the point of unaligned? Because nothing's aligned. They are fortifications unaligned. So you can have a Firestone Redoute or a what the tower thing's called, you know. So I think the unaligned keyword is for fortifications and stuff to work with your Adeptus Astartes, so you can still take things like the Fortress of Redemption, etc. But like I said, please, anyone on YouTube, anyone on Twitch, that's not gospel. That's my interpretation. Is that if you pay the 85 points and use a stratagem to bring in the support element of assassins, you still keep Angels of Death and therefore combat doctrines. However, if you pay for the detachment, I believe you lose combat doctrines.
So with regards to the lore, they've actually got quite a nice little montage thing and sort of to all the old models. So some of the artwork that's in here is really, really cool. I can't show you
artwork you can show.
Yeah, you're right with that.
Artwork you can show.
This image here looks really cool, and it.
Winters' whole video is based on the Codex's artwork.
He's been doing it a long time. And I don't want to be risking anything because this is amazing and don't want to risk that. So you've got old Guilliman, old 30k models, Tyrannic War.
Yeah, it gives you the whole history, doesn't it?
It's amazing. You get all the way up to Rise of Primarch. It's like there's plenty in it, and this is just in the supplement. I mean, it's everything I want.
What I love about the supplements, and this is from a non-competitive standpoint, which is what most of our fan base is about, right? What I love about the supplements is there is some rules that make your armies much better. Okay, so you get 2 pages of stratagems, you get a page of psychic powers, you get a page of warlock traits, you get 2 pages of relics and special issue war gear. So, and they give you, it's not just 3 stratagems like you see in Vigilus, they give you a lot more flavour, which is good. You're talking about 9 pages in a book that's over 100 pages long. The rest of it's all lore. That's amazing. That is
16 strats.
That's a hard focus on lore in the books. And for those of us that aren't the hardcore tournament goers or the competitive players, that is so much more stuff to consume about your chosen chapter that it just enriches your experience, I think, with that particular chapter, that particular army. And if they do that, I'm actually now... So this is something that's mildly off topic but relevant.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they actually do this for every chapter, Legion, Craftwell, Dynasty. And I know the Claw asked a question about the fact that it's more money, and it is more money. But because they've done this in such a way that you don't have to buy that extra book, it doesn't have to be more money. No. It just gives you that option. And if they do this amount of lore, this amount of narrative, imagine how rich the universe is when every single chapter, Legion, Dynasty, Craftworld, Orc Warband all has this much lore. That's an amazing universe.
You say that in the end, orcs actually... Like with Marines, you can build an army that has enough flavour, has really good, and is all based off the one book. But I think you'll be tempted to buy the others because the supplements are so good.
Which is probably the GW business model, right?
Yeah, exactly. Orcs, I'd be really interested to see how they add the flavour to the different warbands, because orcs, I probably would want to pick my own because it's super customizable and it's orcs, so you're customizing all your vehicles, you chuck in random things on and barrels instead of bodies, and like the things people do with orcs is so clever.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to be controversial, right? Like, we have whinged as a channel for a while about this extra book admin that's existing, and I'm now saying this is like kudos GW, because I've been whinging going all these boxes, and I do think I maintain that for FAQs and chapter approves and all this kind of stuff, that admin's a bit shit. That admin's annoying, and they need to fix that admin, in my opinion. I don't think that's great. Because I don't like the fact that you have to carry a chapter approved and an FAQ and a this and a that and something else, right? I don't like that. In terms of these supplements for additional rules for your army and additional narrative for your army, I am 100% behind this. Yeah. And I'm now suggesting that I would like to see this for every army. And how many books would they be creating and selling at that point? That's really, really, really beneficial to us.
The only downside is the fact they're not printing them with me. Keep it in the UK, guys. We actually have a question.
Okay.
How do you guys feel about the variation of infiltrators? Do you think the mine will be worth playing? I think it will be hilariously amazing.
Read the mine rule out.
The mine rule.
Go on, you've had some practice reading stuff out now. You should be okay. No pressure. No pressure
now.
I'm not doing pressure cam.
Live pressure cam. In your movement phase. Now, before he does that, I already know what he's going to do on YouTube. So, in your movement phase, one model from your army with a haywire mine that has not been primed can prime it. At any point during that model's move, place a primed haywire mine within 1 inch of the model. Mine within 1 inch of it. More than 3 inches away from enemy models and more than 6 inches away from other primed haywire mines. If an enemy moves within 3 inches of that prime haywire mine, roll a d6. On a 2, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. If it's a vehicle, it's d3 plus 1. That primed haywire mine is then removed from play. Why would you not stick little traps?
Does it say you can only prime one a turn?
It says one model from your army with a haywire mine that has not been primed can prime it.
So one. Okay. So interestingly, I don't know if that means you can use all 5 at once in extended line and prime your mines or not, or whether it's just one.
It kind of.
I like the mines,
but I don't think it says anything about placing it once it's primed. But I think that's probably part of the
they're 1 inch and 3 inches. But each model's got one, right?
Each model comes with one.
So 5 incursors have 5 mines that you can lay throughout the game.
One incursor can additionally have a haywire mine. No, it's 1. You can have 1.
So that's per unit.
1 per unit.
So if you've got multiple units, that's how you lay multiple mines.
That's how you lay multiple mines.
Okay. Okay, they're good. They're okay. They're just not. I mean, I like them, especially considering they have concealed deployment,
which means you can only lay one per
turn.
battle.
But they have concealed deployment.
They do.
So you can infiltrate them and start sticking mines down.
You can.
So if you have an Intercessor Squad that you've infiltrated, and then there's a roadway and there's ruins either side, and they've got a tank in front of you, and the roadway happens to be 5 to 6 inches wide, stick a mine in the middle of it.
Yeah.
They can't drive down it then.
And then fall back a little
bit. Well, they can drive down it, but they might suffer mortal wounds. Yeah. So actually, I really like it. That's quite cool.
Yeah. So lay one as you're moving backwards down a street.
Yeah.
Like the Ultramarines would.
Anyway. Right, okay. So we've been going for like 2 hours now, and we have wives and children and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we should probably kill this one for now.
Yeah, probably.
If you guys do hammer us with a significant number of more questions in things like the YouTube comment section, etc., Brom and I might film another video. Might not be a live stream, but we might film another video where we go through all the questions and try and answer every single one of them if we can. The whole point of these isn't that we just do a plain Codex review. Part of it is that I want to talk about the Codexes and how good they are. I want to talk about how strong the Codexes are, but I don't even... But I don't want to just do the reviews of the codexes. I want to answer your live Q&As because I might think that you're interested in this and nobody's interested in it at all. So if you're coming into Twitch to talk to us with these live releases or these new releases, on these live streams, we'll try our best to answer questions.
Yes, Simon, they have a model.
Yeah, they do. And it specifically says you have to use the model as well.
Yeah.
We won't get to every single question. It's impossible. Like I say, if you do drop a question in the comment section on YouTube, and there are plenty of them, Brom and I will get together one evening that won't be a live stream, and we'll record one where we're not interrupted by chats and stuff, and we'll answer all those questions and put that video up. And it won't take us long to do that, right? It'll be quite quick. So we can answer more questions, so don't worry about this if you haven't had your question answered already, or if you're catching this on YouTube and you didn't have a chance to answer your question live. We will do our best to answer every single question. 100%. We are looking to make the most out of this GW pre-release content that they've provided us, basically by supporting you guys in the community, by giving you all the answers you want. That's what we want to do.
100%.
I know we can't have a Brom audiobook. I've seen it.
No. It makes me giggle though.
Obviously, if you're new to the channel, if you're only tuning in for the first time, because we've been previewing and looking at these new codexes, then we do a weekly podcast every single week on Twitch live. Normally they're a Sunday or a Monday. If there are weekends where we get the content early and I'm not working over the weekend, it might be that we do 2, or we might draw it forward to the Saturday, but we will announce it on Facebook and we will 100%. Put it in Discord and stuff as well, so you guys will know when they are coming. So don't fear. There is plenty of opportunity to come and join us live. I would encourage people to come and join us live on Twitch. Tonight has been our biggest ever audience, and it's been incredible.
Yep.
I've loved it, and I want to keep growing these audiences. I'm really trying to take this Twitch thing quite seriously, actually, because I quite like it.
I think it looks neat.
I really enjoy it, and I think this new format's really pretty as well.
Yeah.
And not just because your face is on it.
Yeah, which
was nice.
Apparently goes down well.
Yeah, I know it was nice then as well.
Yeah, I know.
So we like coming out of these chats, and I want to do these more often. And whether we do more streams a week, I don't know. I'll just speak to the wife and see what she says. But I like this twitching thing, and I do think twitching is the future for sit and talks anyway, because I like the live audience thing. I like the live TV.
It has been really good.
Interaction.
Actually answering some of you, because you guys are on it, getting all the questions is just a bit of man management. But the other than that, it's good. So if you can stagger them, especially with the amount that we get distracted.
We were quite good actually. We were quite good at staying on topic.
We haven't gone on to biscuits.
Squid Monster has said, Twitch a game. There is an intent, and this is part of what we're doing and pushing on with here in the studio, to start looking at possibly live streaming a game a month maybe in the future.
I think it'd be really good.
I don't want to make promises yet because I don't know how I'm going to make it work. However, it's not going to be this normal top-down view, dice tray view sort of setup. It's going to be more of a hang out and play with us type feel, I think.
100%.
With more interaction and chatting and you'll feel like you're with us. That's the whole point in it, and that's what I'm hoping to do. But there's a little bit more work to do before we can get to the point where we can do that. That's an intention. If we do Twitch games, they will not be for YouTube. They will be purely for Twitch, because I don't think Twitched games make a good transition to YouTube.
No.
Personally. So we are looking at doing that sort of stuff. But come and join us on Twitch if you haven't already. Hit the follow button. Hit subscribe if you feel like being generous and donating. There's a big donate button below the page, and you could donate, and your name might appear on the screen in front of us if you're the latest donation or the biggest donator. So there's plenty of ways to support the channel. And if you've got Amazon Prime, you can link it to Twitch, and then you can pay us that way as well. We also have a massive army of patrons. I'm going to call them an army nowadays. They are an army.
There's so many of them.
I think we could fight off the Russians.
Oh,
we have an army of patrons. Those guys are legends. You can choose to follow us and support us. Not follow us. You can choose to support us on Patreon by following the link in the video description below on YouTube or on the button below this stream on Twitch. And you can come and join us on Patreon. Come and be part of the Moarhammer community on Discord. $2 gets you access to the community. $5 gets you access to the D&D community. $10 gets you access to the Gold community, which gives you the opportunity to come and film or be involved in these New Look podcasts, which are really pretty. Which means one week, if someone comes down to film here, you get like a whole... You and Mikey P get a whole night off.
Yep.
Which is amazing, because I can't afford too many more of these.
And by the way, you say come down here. Obviously, what you mean is fly in from another country.
Yeah.
Rob.
Yeah, Rob. Legend.
Absolute legend.
Hero. Hobby hero. Okay. There's lots of stuff that goes on in the Moarhammer community as well. There's lots of get-togethers, events, gaming sessions that get organised. There's a Moarhammer map where you can tag yourself. We've got legends like Quipster who have done awesome things for people that have had bad times.
Yeah.
There's loads of that sort of support stuff going on as well. And so come and join us.
For other channels as well. So there is a whole thread specifically for people to
We
promote.
do support other channels. We often give shout-outs to other channels like Hellstorm Wargaming, like Winter's SEO, like Grimdark Tales, other ones. There's other ones. Quipster's new channels coming out. There's loads of stuff out there, right? So come and join us, and we do let those channels post. And Sorcerer Dave is another one. Check out Sorcerer Dave if you like gaming content and 40k content.
They all have different tastes, different ways of approaching the same subject that we all love.
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole point in us as a community at Moarhammer and the channel and the stream and all this sort of stuff, we're not trying to be greedy. I mean, I do want to do 40k full time. I don't want to do this sort of thing full time. But we're not trying to be greedy. We're trying to support the whole community. That's the point. Because I think a supported community where everyone's engaged and involved is a more rich community for all of us to be part of.
100%.
So, come and get involved with the channel somehow. Plenty of people get involved and don't ever leave. Loads
of people come just to go to the events. The events are awesome. I'm massively looking forward to the ones coming up. Weekend at Bernie's 2 and the Battle Brothers.
And Moarhammer now officially supports confrontation events. You didn't even know that, did you?
Didn't know you did that.
Yeah, we now officially support confrontation events. So our name will soon be on the events pack for confrontation events. Although I'm not a hardcore tournament goer and I don't particularly care very much about smashing face and ITC, his events are really good fun and they're a good place to hang out and play lots of games at the weekend with some really good dudes. So we now officially support confrontation events.
Did the doubles and the team event and they were both amazing this year.
So there's all of that stuff going on. Obviously, the other way to support Mine and Winters' massive dream is to join us at www.deploymentzone.tv. It's across the top of the screen if you're watching on Twitch. In YouTube, it will be in the video description below. Come and join us on Deployment Zone because it's amazing and there's lots of stuff. Lots and lots and lots of stuff on that website. And we are soon going to be looking at migrating it to an updated version that has PlayPal. And then in the future, we're upgrading it again. Lots and lots of work going in behind the scenes at the moment. There's a reason why I look this tired because it's just non-stop. But we love it. So there you go. Come and join the community. Come and join us on Twitch. Come and join us on YouTube. Come and join us on Facebook. Just come and join us because it's good fun in our community. Finally, a massive shout out to Element Games, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Because as much as GW have supplied us with this early release content, Element Games are our direct sponsors and those guys are legend. Matt is also in Discord and he works hard for us because he's pretty.
Not met him yet, but he's going to get a lot of love.
Yeah, we're going to go see him soon, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Right,
okay. Day.
So, that covers almost everything, I think. For those of you watching us on Twitch, we're going to hang around for a couple more minutes. And I mean a couple more minutes because it's really late. And we're going to go raid someone. But anything else you want to add, Rob, before we go?
No, I'm going to get lost in these books.
Super excited about them, right?
Yeah.
And we'll have to get your Ultramarines on YouTube really soon with the new books.
I believe we've got a game.
Have we?
We've got a game this month.
Have we?
Yeah, but I don't...
Sweet.
Just about getting it out.
And the game.
And the game, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed this new format. Obviously, these will evolve ever so slightly because it's the first time we've done a new release one. So they will probably get a little bit better. Or I'm hoping they get a little bit better over time.
Yep.
And that's about that. And let me know if you do like the new format on Twitch and let me know if you do like the new format on YouTube because it's important that I know if we're going the right way or the wrong way, basically. Thanks very much for watching and we'll see you in the next one.